Hey, that shit hit different. On 4 down. Hey, on the guys, I know y'all been waiting on this one. It hit different. Hold on. Gang. Ayy, try to run and still get shot, that shit hit different. Ayy, stuffing hollows in my Glock, that shit hit different. Ayy, when you smoke your first op, that shit hit different. Ayy, gun size a boss top, that shit hit different. Bitch, that shit hit different. Ayy, that shit hit different. Ayy, when you really bout that life, that shit hit different. Bitch, when you living what you rock, that shit hit different. Ayy, when you know these niggas cop, that shit hit different. Bitch, tax the swifty to the Glock, make it spit different. Ayy, bro just beat a murder case, that shit hit different. Ayy, my side bitch another race, that shit hit different. Ayy, I got a Glock, bro, got a Glock, but bitch, my shit different. Ayy, I got BBs round my neck and them hoes hit different. Ayy, I cut my baby mama off cause that bitch be trippin'. Ayy, caught him locking at the stody, nigga be slippin'. Ayy, got 33 in my 23, Scotty Michael Pippin', bitch. Y'all ass tweaking bitches merch, you know it hit different. It's 200 on my dash, no more whip different. I put my shooters on your ass, it's gon' hit different. No, my boys ain't come to play, they gon' kill a whip. Try to run and still get shot, that shit hit different. Ayy, stuffing hollows in my Glock, that shit hit different. Ayy, when you smoke your first op, that shit hit different. Ayy, gun size a boss top, that shit hit different. Bitch, that shit hit different. Ayy, that shit hit different. Ayy, when you really bout that life, that shit hit different. Bitch, when you living what you rock, that shit hit different. Ayy, when you know these niggas cop, that shit hit different. Bitch, when she found out that you rap, that shit hit different. Ayy, when her sister let you clap, that shit hit different. Ayy, think I'm locking, but I'm strapped, that shit hit different. Ayy, I put my city on the map, that shit hit different. Ayy, I'ma fuck a doggy style, cause it hit different. Ayy, screaming free the problem child, bitch, it hit different. Ayy, all my shorties going wild, bitch, it hit different. Ayy, milk the game like a cow, bitch, it hit different. Ayy, when your cousin them the ops, you know it hit different. Ayy, when you really on your block, bitch, it hit different. Ayy, when you really worth a check, that shit hit different. Ayy, I put the block around my neck because it hit different. Ayy, bitch, try to run and still get shot, that shit hit different. Ayy, stuffing hollows in my Glock, that shit hit different. Ayy, when you smoke your first op, that shit hit different. Ayy, gun size a boss top, that shit hit different. Bitch, that shit hit different. Ayy, that shit hit different. Ayy, when you really bout that life, that shit hit different. Bitch, when you living what you rock, that shit hit different. Ayy, when you know these niggas cop, that shit hit different. Bitch. Hey, that shit hit different. On 4 down. Hey, on the guys, I know y'all been waiting on this one. It hit different. Hold on. Gang. Ayy, try to run and still get shot, that shit hit different. Ayy, stuffing hollows in my Glock, that shit hit different. Ayy, when you smoke your first op, that shit hit different. Ayy, gun size a boss top, that shit hit different. Bitch, that shit hit different. Ayy, that shit hit different. Ayy, when you really bout that life, that shit hit different. Bitch, when you living what you rock, that shit hit different. Ayy, when you know these niggas cop, that shit hit different. Bitch, tax the swifty to the Glock, make it spit different. Ayy, bro just beat a murder case, that shit hit different. Ayy, my side bitch another race, that shit hit different. Ayy, I got a Glock, bro, got a Glock, but bitch, my shit different. Ayy, I got BBs round my neck and them hoes hit different. Ayy, I cut my baby mama off cause that bitch be trippin'. Ayy, caught him locking at the stody, nigga be slippin'. Ayy, got 33 in my 23, Scotty Michael Pippin', bitch. Y'all ass tweaking bitches merch, you know it hit different. It's 200 on my dash, no more whip different. I put my shooters on your ass, it's gon' hit different. No, my boys ain't come to play, they gon' kill a whip. Try to run and still get shot, that shit hit different. Ayy, stuffing hollows in my Glock, that shit hit different. Ayy, when you smoke your first op, that shit hit different. Ayy, gun size a boss top, that shit hit different. Bitch, that shit hit different. Ayy, that shit hit different. Ayy, when you really bout that life, that shit hit different. Bitch, when you living what you rock, that shit hit different. Ayy, when you know these niggas cop, that shit hit different. Bitch, when she found out that you rap, that shit hit different. Ayy, when her sister let you clap, that shit hit different. Ayy, think I'm locking, but I'm strapped, that shit hit different. Ayy, I put my city on the map, that shit hit different. Ayy, I'ma fuck a doggy style, cause it hit different. Ayy, screaming free the problem child, bitch, it hit different. Ayy, all my shorties going wild, bitch, it hit different. Ayy, milk the game like a cow, bitch, it hit different. Ayy, when your cousin them the ops, you know it hit different. Ayy, when you really on your block, bitch, it hit different. Ayy, when you really worth a check, that shit hit different. Ayy, I put the block around my neck because it hit different. Ayy, bitch, try to run and still get shot, that shit hit different. Ayy, stuffing hollows in my Glock, that shit hit different. Ayy, Hey, when you smoke your first op, that shit hit different. Hey, gun size a boss top, that shit hit different. Bitch, that shit hit different. Hey, that shit hit different. Hey, when you really bout that life, that shit hit different. Bitch, when you living what you rap, that shit hit different. Hey, when you know these niggas cap, that shit hit different. Bitch.
We Japanese still. You getting cooked in front of your family? Like a Japanese meal. It's y'all shoot the hibachi and none of you niggas can stop me. Can't help but watch me. It do hit different when you run into Garfield's twin on YouTube. It do hit different when you run into Garfield's twin, his doppelganger on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? The bros hit me up like, hey, check this video out. I checked the video out. Bro sound just like Garfield. I'm like, we got another nigga perpetrating. We got another nigga that won't funk. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just gonna go over bits and pieces of the video that he put out. It's a video he titled, Hey Black Folk, You Did Not Travel Anywhere. You did not travel or populate the world. And within this video, he's saying a lot of Garfield-esque arguments. You understand? When you know these niggas capped, that shit hit different. It's a lot of Garfield-esque arguments within this video. He's saying that, first of all, these people, just like Garfield, they treat West Africans as a single person, a single entity, a homogenous population, or one entity. So when they say, oh, West Africans did this, or in West Africa that, they speak as if West Africa is a person. West Africa is a place, it's not a person. Y'all speak as if it's a person. West Africa doesn't have children. People have children. So he speaks in that same vein. He speaks, this is what most of these people do, these Africanists. And he's saying, he claims to be against Afrocentric, but I don't know what to call you. You're an Africanist, man. When you try to immobilize millions of people and immobilize thousands of ancestors and rob people of their diversity. And it's so crazy because if you know anything about Africa, Africa is the most diverse continent on the planet. But when you hear these dickheads on the internet like Chief X and Garfield and, and company, they speak as if it's not the most diverse place. They speak as if these people are immobile. These people are damn near retarded and they don't know how to migrate. They don't know how to innovate. They don't know how to do anything but sit there and wait until slavery, the slave trade comes. And then that's when people start to move out of West Africa. That's far from the truth. All the up-to-date science, up-to-date archaeology shows and proves that Africans were very mobile, highly mobile. You can't start off hunter-gatherers and not be mobile. If you're not mobile and you're a hunter-gatherer, that's death. You die. You got to go follow the food. When lean months happen, you have to get up and leave. You have to have mobility. You guys are silly, bro. You guys believe in Pixar, Disney shit, right? Y'all think that people have to stay in the same area. The human experience is an experience of migration, migratory routes. That's the human experience. And you're dehumanizing a whole swath of people. They're not all the same. All West Africans are not the same. Hausa are very diverse. Even Yoruba are diverse. The Nigerians are diverse. The people of the Chad Basin are diverse groups of people. That shows migration right there, because you have different groups of people coming together and amalgamating and becoming something completely different. That's showing you that these people are not stagnant. If you got RV-88 carriers that are coming from the Balkans, right? You have your A and B hunter-gatherers that are there, right? You have your E markers that are there, whether they're E1A, E2 or E1, B1A, and the various clades that are associated with it, or EM78. This is a amalgamated people, and we're not even mentioning the haplogroup. They found haplogroup H in a burial 3,000 years ago in Shumlaka. That's a European mitochondrial clade. So why do we have all this diversity in sub-Saharan Africa? Oh, y'all always try to pinpoint West Africa. Sub-Saharan Africa is bigger than just West Africa. But you guys hyper focus on that because y'all treat West Africa like a prison. You know what I'm saying? And you guys believe, I guess, in the book of Enoch, and I guess West Africa is where they hid the fallen angels at. Because y'all treat Sub-Saharan Africa and West Africa as if people are incarcerated and doing life bids and they have to stay there, and God is keeping them there unto perpetuity. This is how these people speak. This is how they act. This is how Garfield speaks. This is how Chief X speaks. Every time this topic comes up, they immobilize thousands of ancestors and millions of West Africans and Africans in general. So we're going to get into the footage today, man, and we're going to deal with this dickhead. You know what I'm saying? Like we always deal with the dickheads, right? We're gonna share some information with you guys. We're going to try to thoroughly refute what's being said in these videos and educate you guys. We're going to talk about cultivation. We're going to talk about domestic animals and its indication on migration, because you can't have domestic animals without people domesticating animals. You can't have crops being cultivated without people doing the cultivation. Cultivation is a human action. So if you have a crop that's from a particular area that's indigenous, you need people that are from that area and know how to cultivate it. So if you see it somewhere else, there has to be some instruction there. There has to be some know-how there. Normally from the people that are used to that crop and the environment that it came from. So there's abundance of evidence that West Africa is not a static, it's not a portal, a time warp. It's not where you go to die. It's not a life sentence in the old world. People that went there, or I don't even know if y'all believe they went there. They just sprung up from the damn ground and grew roots and stayed there for, perpetuity, according to y'all. That's how y'all treat West Africa. It's a fucking place. And people have been mobile for tens of thousands of years. Your idea of human past is idiotic. Your idea of ancestry is stupidity. And this man claims he's not going off phenotype, but every argument is, show me a black nappy-head person here. Well, we can show that Cro-Magnons. Cro-Magnons was all over Europe. They're the first humans to go to Europe, and they were dark-skinned Africans, phenotypically. Negritos, dark-skinned. Our cousins, when I say our cousins, I can't speak for Chief X because I asked Chief X, has he taken a DNA test? He gives me his autosomal. The autosomal doesn't tell me your direct ancestry. Most you motherfuckers don't even belong to the same people I sprang from. You don't even belong to the Bantus, the Yorubas, and the Igbo. You don't even belong to them. You want to talk all this shit about them. You can't even prove that you even belong to that stock. You ain't even from there, nigga. We don't know you. Where your grandmama stay, nigga? Where your grandmama stay, nigga? We don't know you, man. Always trying to claim some shit. You niggas be R1B, R1A up. Coming from the damn Balkans and shit. Trying to dictate some shit that happened thousands of miles away. Niggas be haplogroup G and shit trying to dictate some shit that happened thousands of miles away. I'm following science. No, you following dumb shit. Just like your twin Garfield. You are doctrinaires. That's all you are. You're doctrinaires. You don't follow the evidence and let the evidence lead you to where you need to go. You're just trying to push and perpetuate and propagate a doctrine, like most you motherfuckers on the internet. All right, I'm gonna let my bro Avery in. Maybe you can chime in on Chief X. Free.
Yo, what's up? It's been a long time. So, which video are we playing? Are we playing the Green Sahara one? I don't know which.
We're gonna play the "Hey Black Folk, You Did Not Travel" first. I want to play that one.
Okay, so we're playing two then. So that one and then the Green Sahara one.
Yeah, I'm gonna speed it up.
Okay, I haven't seen the one that you're about to play. I'll save my commentary for the Green Sahara one.
Yeah, there's some points I want to bring out of here because I didn't hear him make these same exact points in the Green Sahara video. So there's a few points I want him to make so the audience can be familiar with what this guy is trying to sell. And if anyone's familiar with Garfield's talking points, you're going to be like, oh, okay, it's the same shit, right? So with that being said, we are covered under the Copyright Act, fair use, Copyright Act of 107, to review his video, to give our criticisms and our commentary. We are well within our right to do so. We'll be flashing the banner on the bottom of the screen, reminding you guys this is all fair use. We're here to critique and give our commentary. So with that being said, let's get to this first clip right here. All right, here we go. So here's the brother's channel, Chief X. You know, I don't even know this dude's haplogroup. You know, he wouldn't tell me what his haplogroup was. He claimed we don't care about that, but you want to dictate people's ancestry, but you don't want to reveal to the world what your Y DNA is. And usually when people don't want to do that, it's because it's not African. Usually when they don't want to reveal their Y DNA, as you know, Avery and the rest of the Yap game have experienced, it's because they're not African. You're not even from there, man. Like I said, where your grandmama stay, nigga. We got to do a background check on you niggas before y'all open y'all mouth. Reggie, we still waiting on your Y DNA. Y'all always want to claim some shit, but don't want, you know, fess up to your DNA, to your ancestry. Does your ancestry actually go back there? No, it doesn't. A lot of you guys is all type of shit. And that's another point. African Americans are diverse. African Americans, you have African Americans that have patrolines and matrolines go back to Europe. You got African Americans that have patrolines and matrolines go back to indigenous actual Native Americans. Q markers, A2 markers, and B markers on the matroline side, showing you that they actually do descend from Native Americans. More so on the maternal side than the father side, but it does exist. There's a word called diversity that you niggas are missing and ignoring. And not every sub-Saharan African is the same. It's diversity there as well. But you treat, again, West Africa as a person, homogenous unit. It's a tract of land, not a fucking person. You gotta tell grown motherfuckers this.
I think just lost connection. He'll be back here in a second. But there's a particular video that he's gonna play later. All right, he's back.
Yeah. Click the damn, what you call it. So here's the video here. And I want to speed this up. I ain't gonna bore y'all all night. And I don't want to stay up all night either.
Watch us be up to 6 hours.
No. That ain't happening. That's not happening, bro. Fair use.
Give me 30 seconds, and we're gonna talk about it. Don't go nowhere. We're gonna break this down today. What's up, Trap Perry? Salute. Trap Perry, I tag you in the music videos because I know you're a person who appreciates good music, right? There's not a lot of us around who evolution and migration patterns and stuff, and you get to understanding this shit, you'll be like, oh shit, well, this is what I am. I'm not that. Right? Check this out. I and 90% of the people listening to me are what you call tropical Africans. If you don't understand, get a fucking dictionary, get Wikipedia in front of you, so when Chief X is talking, you can fact check him and look shit up and get understanding, okay? So today I made a post and I said, African American.
First off, Chief X, we don't know if you're a tropical African or not. We don't even know if that's in your background check, nigga. Showing me your autosomal don't tell me shit. We don't know what the fuck you are. Show your wide DNA. You niggas are so afraid of revealing who you actually are when you take them DNA tests. That's why I don't care, because you know that if you showed it, we're gonna show the people, no, this nigga is a S116 marker, U106 marker, Bell Beaker, Britain. You understand? You from the Brits, boy. You from the Balkans, boy. You not even from there. You trying to claim a card you not even from. You early European farmer and shit. You could be trans-Caucasian or some shit, bro. We don't know what you are, man. Because you're too afraid to show your DNA, and are you too afraid to do a 23andMe to reveal what your DNA is? Most you cats be flogging, man.
Americans or Black Americans claiming to be Nubians, it's just like a Cambodian claiming to be an Iranian. The post didn't get much play, but think about it. Does a Cambodian or a person from Thailand claim to be an Iranian? Claim to be the same thing as an Iranian? No, they don't. Does a person from Pakistan claim to be the same person as a Chinese person? No, they don't. Why? Because Asia is a continent, not a country. It's the same with Africa. Africa is a continent, not a country. So you have no right as a Ghanaian to say you're the same person as a Nubian. Just like a Cambodian is not going to claim to be an Iranian. This is a continent, not a country. So you are not the same as everyone on the continent of Africa. You're just not. Africa, the continent, has the greatest biological diversity.
Right, and this is what kills me on this, Avery.
Yeah.
If Africa as a continent has the greatest biological diversity, how in the hell are you going to sit up here and then later on in the video purport that people in West Africa was always stuck there? Nobody traveled to West Africa or from West Africa.
Yeah, a very, very dumb statement. But also,
how?
Yeah, go ahead.
No, how? Go ahead, bro. How?
No, like some of the stuff he was saying right here, I was thinking, so a Ghanaian can't say anything about Nubian peoples and stuff like that. But my question is, can people speak on relatedness and things of that nature? Like, let's say you have a Ghanaian with E1B1A, and is it wrong for him to talk about a Nubian with E1B1B? Like, these groups in Africa, it should be fine to speak about the common relatedness to different populations in Africa. If E1B1A Ghanaian wants to speak on the different interconnections between Ghana and a Sudanese person via genetics, like, oh, we all descend from EP2 and it was in East Africa, and then there was splits and when migrations occurred, I think that should be fine. We see Europeans do it all the time. You find European Anglo-Saxons talk about their relatedness to different populations of people all throughout Europe and the migration patterns that took place, like with the Yamnaya expansion, when they came from the Pontic Steppe and then migrated all throughout the Balkans and all throughout Scandinavia and all throughout Central Europe and things like that. Or when they went, when the Yamnaya went east and the different Indo-European groups went into India, went into Central Asia with the Scythians and stuff. I find it kind of odd that other ethnic groups can speak on their migration patterns and their relatedness and connectedness via genetics like R1b and R1a, but E1B1A populations are restricted from speaking about their relatedness and their migration patterns, like with Niger-Congo peoples that might carry E1B1A and Afro-Asiatic peoples that might carry E1B1B and things like that.
You don't even have to do that. In Ghana, oh, he got me saying Ghana, in Ghana, and Nigeria, and the coast of Ivory, and Senegal, and Mauritania, there's E1B1A and E1B1B carriers together.
That's true.
Together. And there's A markers, which we do see a lot of these Sudanese, you know, which you can say that these people probably were the Kerma population, which was most likely the population that birthed the Nubians on the west coast of Africa as well. So none of what he's saying makes sense. And it goes back to what you're saying, interconnectedness, right? If Africa is biodiverse, has the greatest biodiversity on the planet, then you should expect this.
Mm-hmm. You should expect some forms of genetic overlap. You should expect some forms of genetic admixture. As a matter of fact, when it comes to E1B1A markers, using them as an example, they migrated from East Africa. Likely the Horn of Africa, EV38 migrated from the Horn of Africa to West Africa. And for a long time, E1B1A and E1B1B would have been around each other. And that mixed with the same type of women and perhaps even had a similar type of culture before they split. So yeah, it's kind of weird to hear him say that, almost imply that it's wrong for us for a Ghanaian person or a Ghana person.
Yeah, being from a different country does not mean you're from a different lineage.
Yeah, because
that's how these idiots on the internet treat being. I'm in America. I'm an American. That doesn't mean I don't share ancestry with people from different countries. I share ancestry with people that live in Europe. I share ancestry with people that live in sub-Saharan Africa, West Africa, Nigeria, Ghana, you name it, Botswana, wherever. I share ancestry with people living in China. I share ancestry with them. It doesn't matter where they fucking live. Land does not have sex and reproduce. People do. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, you're right. Ghana is technically it's a nationality. It's not really like a race or anything of that nature. It's a nationality. And you have different ethnic groups living in the nation of Ghana. So technically speaking, a person that's living in Ghana could have ancestry or relatedness to Sudanese people. Considering that we're really talking about nations when he says things like Ghana or Sudan and stuff like that. Like there's different ethnic groups within these countries. And you can't really say that everybody in Ghana, the entire population of Ghana, has no connection to any other parts of Africa or even the world.
That would mean they're not diverse.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean that they're not diverse. Yeah. Because people in Ghana, you can find R1b, you can find E1B1A, you can find E1B1B, you can find haplogroup A, haplogroup B. If someone with haplogroup A is living in Ghana and they're a Ghanaian or whatever, they could legit have and technically would have relatedness to people in Sudan via, haplogroup A having its ancient migrations all throughout the continent of Africa. Or it could be a recent migration as well. Whether it's ancient or recent, still there's a connectedness there. So
right.
That's why we have to boil. Yeah, go ahead.
You got the Baram people of Nigeria, right? Those people have discovered that those people have an East African origin. You got the Como people, same thing. They're related to the Dinka. They're related to Sudanese. They're in West Africa.
Right.
So you're trying to demarcate people while cutting yourself and shooting yourself in the foot by admitting that sub-Saharan Africa has the greatest biodiversity on the planet. I mean, Africa, period, has the greatest biodiversity on the planet. How can it be if you're trying to make it seem like they're homogenous and there's no genetic overlap?
Right. Yeah, we got to take things by case basis. You can't just say Ghana. You got to at least say a specific tribe or ethnic group, but don't say a nation. You know, there's
Right. We
different
don't even know
people.
if he, hey, bro,
Yeah,
we don't even know if he said, I'm a, what did he say? A tropical We don't even know that, bro. We don't know. You won't show your damn DNA. We don't know what the hell you are, man. Where your origins stem back to. Anyway.
Although you have kinky and nappy hair, I don't have mine, I shaved it. Just because you have kinky and nappy hair and another people has kinky and nappy hair, that does not make you the same people. The same when you put the shoe on the other foot. Just because a Chinese person has straight black hair and an Iranian person has straight black hair, it doesn't make them the same people. So what happens is Black Americans are the only people who confuse this because we are the only people on the planet, understand, who has an identity issue. That's a causation that happened from the transatlantic slave trade, where we're displaced and we're living here now, but we don't know exactly or specifically what tribe we came from. I don't know if I came from the geographical area of Nigeria or
So if you don't know, how can you make the determination that these people are they're tropical Africans? How can you just said you don't know? Well, we don't know. Well, actually, we do know because now we got something called DNA test. You understand? We can see and test someone's paternal and maternal lines to see where you directly go to, stretching back thousands of years. You understand? We can do that, and you deny the science. You don't want to reveal your DNA. Because most likely you probably eye or some shit.
the most I'll say is this, though. He is right in saying that just because an ethnic group has kinky curly hair, that doesn't equate to you being related to said ethnic group. I agree with that statement. That's about all I agree with so far that he said.
But he's going to contradict himself because he's going to pose a challenge. And that challenge is going to be based on how someone looks. Well, to prove that your people or your ancestry goes outside of the limits of sub-Saharan Africa, then show me a dark-skinned, kinky-haired man or person outside of sub-Saharan Africa more than 5,000 years ago. So he's using the phenotype as a barometer to say who you're related to, but then tell you everybody with the same phenotype is not the same. Duh. But then you can't turn around and use that as a barometer to find out who is who. That's dumb, man. Like your ancestors are most likely lighter skinned males from the Balkans. Probably like white, pale skin, probably have blue eyes, straight hair. You understand? Probably tall, because you might have some of that ancestry coming from the Yamnaya. You know what I'm saying? Viking built. That's your ancestry. Like the way your ancestors look has no imprint on you. Because one, that was thousands of years ago, or probably within the last 300, 400 years, because most of the African Americans that gained the European markers, if they didn't get it from a tribe that already had European markers or Eurasian associated markers from West African tribes, they most likely got it from European immigrants or European slave owners, or slave masters, or just Europeans that actually had conjugal relations with African slaves. So that's most likely how you got it. And that person most likely looked like Brad Pitt or some shit, or Ethan Hawke.
geographical area of Ghana because of the transatlantic slave trade. So we, as African Americans or Black Americans, I have no problem with either word, have an identity crisis, and we have a lack of understanding of racial issues and who's who and what's what because of that. So what we do in our little minds now is we say, okay, them are Nubians. Well, that's me too, because they got nappy hair and dark skin. We're the same people. That's called confusion and miseducation. No other people on any other continent don't do that. People on the continent of Asia don't say, okay, everybody got black straight hair, so we all the same. No. There's different cultures. There's different biological origins of people. See, this is why we need science, right? What's up, Ashley Aikens? Hey, niece. I'm up to a lot of people, right? So this is what you are. 90% of the people listening to me are what? Tropical Africans. Look up tropical Africans. Okay? We are sub-Saharan Africans. We're descendants of sub-Saharan Africans, meaning a people below the Sahara Desert. Above the Sahara Desert, which is what we call North Africa, are a different people. So,
see what he just did there?
Uh-oh.
You know what I'm saying? Sleight of hand. Sub-Saharan Africans and the people above of the Sahara are different people from each other. How do you know this? This is a very unscientific statement. You're not showing us hard evidence. You're not telling us, hey, I did the genetic research and I compared Y chromosomes to Y chromosomes, empty DNA, so on and so forth, and then I came up with a different, completely different people. You're not doing that. You're just saying it. And what are you basing this off of, Avery? Remember earlier he said you can't go by looks, right? Just because someone has the same looks as you doesn't mean you're the same. Well, what else does that tell you? Just because someone looks different than you does not mean that you have a different ancestor.
Right.
West Africans and Sub-Saharan Africans do overlap. They overlap. You got North Africans that have straight hair, light skin, very, very pale skin that are E1, B1A. They even have L markers like L1, B1A8. You have AM13 markers in North Africa. You have them in Sub-Saharan Africa. You have EM78 in North Africa, and you have them in Sub-Saharan Africa at different distribution levels, but they're still there. So just to throw out a blanket statement and say these people are completely different, that's a fucking farce. And how you came to this conclusion is you probably just looking at how they look. Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. It's all based on phenotype and looks. This is the same thing that Afrocentrics do. Oh, North Africans aren't true North Africans. They're actually Arabs and Turks because they look semi-white. And the Mana population does the same thing. Oh, North Africans, they have nothing to do with people south of the Sahara, those Bantu Black African peoples. So, and also white supremacists do this as well. So it's kind of interesting how white supremacists, Black supremacists, Mena population supremacists all kind of have these same hardcore racialist, downright Nazi views when it comes to Africa. North Africa is white, Sub-Saharan Africa is Black. But the fact of the matter is, when it comes to North Africans, specifically groups like the Amazigh or the Berbers, and pretty much any North African that carries haplogroup E is just as related to anyone who's south of the Sahara. Because most people south of, well, I wouldn't say most people, but a lot of people south of the Sahara carry E1B1A. And a lot of people in North Africa carry E1B1B. They both descend from the exact same paternal forefather, EP2. They're literally technically cousin ethnic groups. No different than how R1A is related to R1B. R1B is typically seen in Western Europe. R1A is typically seen in like South Asia and Central Asia, but they're still both related. They both descend from a specific downstream of R1. So yeah, we're not that different from the people in North Africa. We're related to them. It's a little
right,
but again, it's phenotype. So.
And then there's something called post migrations because they lied. Oh, those people are Arabs. There's Arabs in West Africa too. There's Arabs in Southern Africa too. They're called Shua and Bagara Arabs.
Right.
They're in Cameroon. They're in Nigeria. They're all over the Chad Basin. And these people can look indistinguishable from other groups in the same damn region.
Right. And I almost forgot. I spoke about haplogroup E, how North Africans and Sub-Saharan Africans are related. I don't want to leave out. Also, on the maternal side, we can't forget about the females.
There we go.
L1, L2, L3 is definitely seen among North Africans, just like it's seen among Sub-Saharan Africans and East Africans. So don't forget about the MT markers. We definitely share both paternally and maternally. There's connections either way. And even autosomally, there's some overlap. It's not like it's impossible to find sub-Saharan Africans with North African DNA autosomally. And it's not like it's impossible to find sub-Saharan African among North Africans autosomally. So whether we're looking at autosomes, whether we're looking at Y-DNA haplogroups, whether we're looking at mtDNA haplogroups, there's some interconnectedness between the two populations, sub-Saharan Africans and North Africans. People got to stop othering other people. That's how you get genocide.
Yep.
That's how you get, oh, this race is better than the other when you start othering others. Anyways, go ahead. I'm going on a whole tangent.
Yeah. I just want to show y'all the Baggara and Shua Arabs. Just real quick, then we get back to the video. There's an Arab right there. No, he not. He a sub-Saharan African. What are you talking about? Shut your goofy ass up, man.
The fun thing about it, he could be a J marker or E1B1B marker or E1B1A marker.
Exactly. And a lot of them do carry J, E1B1B. They carry those markers.
Which would mean...
They carry them.
My bad, go ahead.
Because again, like the idiot admitted in the beginning of the video, there's biodiversity. There's a great amount of biodiversity in Africa, period.
Exactly.
You got these people migrating. Look, let's read this. The Shua Arabs are commonly referred to as Baggara. This name is derived from the Arabic word bagar, meaning cow, and refers to the Arab tribes in West Africa who are cattle herders. They are spread from Lake Chad region eastward to the Nile River in the countries of Sudan, Niger, Chad, Cameroon, Nigeria, and the Central African Republic. So when you open your goddamn mouth about my ancestral region, because I don't even know if you can claim this shit, just know it's diverse. Post-migrations over hundreds, centuries and centuries and centuries and thousands of years have brought in different people. They have culminated and migrated and amalgamated together, as you see with these Arabs. Say they live in hot, semi-arid climate with zones ranging from sparse scrub lands to wooded grasslands. The Baggara tribes are of Arab descent. You see that? They are Arab descent. Now, what does that mean? What does this mean? Is this spiritual? Is this metaphorical? No, it means they descend from people that had sex and reproduced. Because y'all like to play games. Y'all like to play semantics. And this is why we see haplogroup J amongst this group and different Eurasian clades against this particular group. And mainly speak the Shua dialect of the Arabic language. And a lot of you guys get mad at the Arabic expansion, if you will, or trade, if you will, or even the slave trade. But also, I always got to bring this and remind my audience that these people brought a pre-literate society or place on the planet and gave them literacy, a writing form and everything. So sometimes you got to look at the glass half full. It says here, they entered Western Sudan between the 12th and 13th centuries and have gradually moved east and west from there. By the 18th century, they were concentrated primarily to the north and east of Lake Chad. Their tribes continued moving eastward until they became widely scattered across the horizontal plains of West Africa. They have intermarried with the tribes who live close to them. That's important because when you see people go, especially a male expansion, they come into another region. What do? They marry the local women. Now watch this. The mixture of blood has given the Baggara darker skin and thicker lips than other Arabs. This is why they look like this.
So I would say that he looks like what this guy loves to say, a tropical sub-Saharan African or a tropical West African. So
right.
let's break this down. Let's assume he has haplogroup J, which many Arabs carry, J or E1B1B, but let's just say J. This would mean that this man's ancient forefathers would have came from the Caucasus, migrated through the Near East into the Arabian Peninsula, then around the time of the 13th and 12th century would have migrated into Sudan, and then into West Africa because they're typically seen in places like Chad and Niger, Nigeria, the Central African Republic, Cameroon, etc. So, would this guy, this J marker Arab, I'm asking you, Jashub, would he be? Here, let me see how I can phrase this. Do you think that this guy will accept Chief X will accept him as being no different than any other West Central African person, even though he has ancestry from outside
Yeah,
of West Central Africa?
because he'll go off his location and how he look, which he claims to not do.
So he'll look at this guy and be like, "Oh, his ancestors have been in West Africa for the past 100,000 years."
Yeah. He'll be like, "You always been there. You never traveled nowhere. You never, motherfucker. These people come from outside of Africa and come into Africa. That's what happens. People migrate. People move. People have sex. That's the human experience. These people live in Nigeria, Niger, Chad, and Sudan."
So basically, all West Africans aren't paternally or even maternally the same and related. There's different groups that migrated in and out of West Africa. Is that basically
That's it,
what
bro.
this is saying?
That's
Unless we're saying Arabs are indigenous to West Africa. I mean, we could say that, but that would not be true.
You know
Arabs
what
are
people will say? Oh, these people hate themselves. This person just wants to be an Arab. No, this is literally backed up with DNA science. We can see the trek that these people took. We can see it. Matter of fact, I was going to hold this right here. There's the trek right there.
It's a good example. Yeah.
There's the trek. You guys will all be able to see the map. These red arrows, those are the Arabs. That's the Arab lineage coming in.
Yeah.
All right. So 3, it tells you it's Cameroon Arab.
Can you zoom in, by the way, on the DNA graph?
Is that better?
Yeah, it's better.
Yeah. So these red arrows right here, 3, 1, and 2. What is 1? Sudan, Beni Amir, Sudan Nile, the second 2, and Sudan Nile 1.
Yeah.
And then you also have 3, Cameroon Arab, which they got genetic components from Saudi Arabia, genetic components from Tunisia. Why do West Central Africans have genetic components from Tunisia if you're saying nobody fucking migrated, man?
North Africa right there.
They got Ethiopia, Afro-Asiatic components.
That's East
They have Ethiopia, Nilo-Saharan components. They also have, and just remember, you're trying to connect with people in East Africa. There's overlap, right? They got Gambia Mandinka components. They also have Sierra Leone Mende components, and they have Malawi components.
This kind of shows what I was saying earlier about the whole Ghana. Like he said, a person from Ghana basically shouldn't say anything about Sudan because there's no connectedness. And again, this is why we really have to look at things by case basis. Because right here, what you're showing, can you scroll down and show all the different populations? Right here, what this shows is that there's a lot of admixture between East Africa and West Africa, and even North Africa, and even groups outside of Africa itself, like the Middle East. But one thing I want to point out, let me see right here. One thing I want to point out is that, first of all, this chart shows Cameroon, Cameroon Arab, Cameroon Canary, Cameroon Kotoko. Forgive me for any mispronunciations. Cameroon North, Congo, Cameroon Narrow Bantu, Cameroon Grassland, Cameroon North Bantoid, Nigeria East, Nigeria West, and Ghana. And so I specifically only read the West African populations. So this actually kind of shows that West Africans are extremely diverse autosomally, because according to this guy, all of these West African groups I named should have one autosomal percentage. They should all be 100%, I guess, Bantu. I don't know what he's thinking, but they should all be 100% one single autosomal component, but they're not. They are diverse in their autosomes. They have East African DNA. Well, these West Africans have East African DNA. They have North African DNA. They have a little bit of like Arabian DNA. So this guy being like West Africa is basically static genetically is just proven false by science itself. So I'll let you go ahead.
Which he claims to follow, right? Oh, that's why we need science. Look, they got Mozambique components. The orange components are Egyptian. You got some Cameroonian Bantus with Egyptian components. You got some Northern Bantu with Egyptian, Nigerian, Eastern with some Egyptian components. Mozambique components, Tunisia components, Morocco Berber components. Like, come on, man.
Yes,
and
my bad. Go ahead. My bad.
I'm gonna touch on why they got these Northern African components too. It's very simple. Why? Something called migration. Go ahead, brother.
And one thing I want to point out really quick, and I'll give it back to you, is number 9. It has Ghana. Now, earlier in the video, he had mentioned Ghana and how people of Ghana shouldn't say anything about anybody in the East, anybody in Sudan. But look at the very top. It says Sudan Condorfian. Excuse me for mispronouncing it. And then it says Sudan Nilo-Saharan. And if you look at Ghana, going back to number 9, it shows a sliver of purple, which is Ethiopia Nilo-Saharan.
Mm-hmm.
And also has a sliver of some other stuff too, but I'm not going to focus on the other ones. But can you scroll up really quick to A, which is in figure 5? So this shows.
Man. You got to kill him on this.
Not B. Not A. I meant B. My bad. Go down.
No, I thought you wanted to go over these inferred admixture dates. All right, we go to B. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to show the migration. So you see that there's a purple or maybe a pinkish arrow going from East Africa into Ghana. Well, this shows that there actually is admixture between East Africans and West Africans. So a Ghana person, if they want, could speak on their East African ancestry. They might have great grandparents or maybe ancient forefathers who came from the East into Ghana. And so they would have connections to people in the East. And specifically, this study is saying that it's from Sudan. They have a Sudan Nilo-Saharan gene flow. And this chart also goes into the dates as to when this gene flow took place. I'll let you cover that, Jashub. It's in figure A.
Yeah, I was gonna save it, but these especially with the Fulani, these dates are old. With the Cameroon, Kotoko, these dates are beautifully old, as you can see with some of these admixture dates going all the way back to 3500 BCE. 3500 BCE. Fulani has always been said to be around 3000, but they stretch it out all the way almost to 2000 BCE. These admixture dates. These are old admixture dates, bro. So it's over with, man. This is post-migration. You got different people coming in. You got North Africans coming in, East Africans coming in, different West African populations, all mixing and amalgamating to become what we see today. It's not a static population, not people stuck. You know what I'm saying? They will migrate both ways, in and out of Africa, in and out of sub-Saharan Africa. We can prove that. Cultivation, animals, and things of that nature, and DNA, L3, L3E, L2A1, L3F. We can show those migrations. You niggas are so far behind on the studies because you don't read and study shit. You don't.
And you know what this proves, by the way, Jashub?
What's up?
This proves genetic diversity.
Genetic diversity, man.
Which is what he was advocating for earlier in the video, but then just, I guess he forgot he was advocating for it, and
niggas be talking outside of their mouth, bro. Niggas be talking out their ass, bro. That's what be happening. That's why none of these arguments ever make any logical sense. All right, let's go here. Let's go back.
I'll make this quick. And by the way, we were only talking about autosomes in that piece. Now it gets even crazier when you get to haplogroups, because Africa is full of all types of different haplogroups. But that alone autosomally shows the great diversity that Africans have. But the haplogroups are even crazier. Go ahead.
And just for this slow motherfucker can understand, these arrows, when you see these arrows, that's migrations. You see migrations coming down from North Africa, right? Coming down from Libya, which he's going to say, I wanted to say this for the latter part of this video, because he's going to say that this did not happen. But the genes tell a different fucking story. Anyway.
I've challenged people to find me. Well, let me just say this. I'm telling people something that no one in the conscious community has ever told them, and they didn't even realize it. I've gotten pushback, but my friends that I vibe with on YouTube and have debates with and be on live streams, they get it now. But it's the people who are not into history and not on these live streams and having these discussions and hashing it out and having these debates, they don't know. So most of the people in the conscious community can care less about history and science. They're in it for the fellowship and to get along and to vibe and play. You know, they're not really into history and science. They front and play like they are, but they're not. But these are the people who always try to tell people who are into history and science that they don't know what they're talking about. Okay, so this is the thing I've said, and I've challenged anybody. I've made an offer, and I told everybody you will get $1,000 if you can prove me wrong. And this statement is, North Africa has never, ever, ever, ever in the history of mankind been Black Africa. People were sure that said that because they don't understand migration, evolution, and they're not into history. They're into fellowshipping and playing, and they're into throwing up the Black Power fist and saying Black Power and all this old bullshit, but they're not into the subject of history and science. So they don't know. Now, you may think they're about this Black Power, they talking about I got Marcus Garvey and Malcolm X and Queen Nzinga, and all, but they don't study the history. They're into the rah-rah shit. So we're talking some history and science right now, real briefly, okay? North Africa has never, ever, 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 ever been Black Africa. No one's ever told you that. Chief X is the first one to say that. And the reason I said that because I've been battling Afrocentrics who are culture vultures and who steal other people's history.
So, North Africa has never, ever, ever, ever been Black African. In the history of mankind, brother, Avery, he said the history of mankind, North Africa has never been Black. This is how we know you guys are not studying. Y'all don't read a goddamn thing. Y'all don't study shit. That's why I call y'all dilettantes. Dilettante does not mean you're wrong in your information. Dilettante means that you don't care about the information. You don't care to study. You don't care to read. That's what it means to be a dilettante. So when I call somebody that, that's the proper use. You understand? That's the proper use. Ramal Yahoo, this is Chief X, man. This is Chief X. And North Africa, bro, the whole world was Black at one point of time. That's not an Afrocentric standpoint. We not Afrocentrics. You're the Afrocentric trying to stuff everybody in West Africa like it's a fucking prison and they doing a bid. Right? You're the one doing that. Trying to call everybody tropical Africans, and we don't even know your DNA or your background, man. Thank you, D-Red. The Sahel has an invisible force field around it, so folks were stuck. That's basically what you're saying. Basically. That's an Africanist talking point.
Also a white supremacist talking point.
White supremacist talking point, African, same shit. Hey, your boy is on that angel dust, bro. Because here it is. It's 2023. We have access to all this information. The phones have gotten smarter and you niggas have gotten dumber. I've been saying that.
Unfortunately.
You know? You got Keefians. You got
I'm about to pull something up when you're done.
Yeah, pull them all up, man. You got Ibero Marusians. These people are dark-skinned peoples. And then he just dismissed the rock art. But the archaeologists don't dismiss the rock art. What does the archaeologist say about the rock art? Let's pull it up before you even get it. Before you even get to spit it out, Avery.
It's in pulling up an article. I only want to.
Rebel minded, nobody, they never moved around according to him. We're gonna get later on to the video where he say that, man. Africans never moved around according to him. So I'm gonna share my screen real quick. I'm gonna let my bro, you know what I'm saying, empty these slugs. So this book right here, I actually care about the source material. I actually go out and buy books. I actually read. Unlike you idiots on the internet, unlike Garfield, unlike Chief X, unlike most of y'all, man. I actually care about the subject. So this is from a book called Burials, Migration, and Identity in the Ancient Sahara and Beyond. Very expensive book, but it was worth it. I don't like listening to you guys wolf. That's why you don't see me on the internet a lot. I'm trying to read and understand topics. So it says here, in regards to the Proto-Berber and the Saharan connections that we see here, it says it remains uncertain to what extent this represented a large-scale migration of Mediterranean Africans taking over spaces formerly occupied by Neolithic herders, or on the other hand, an amalgamation of surviving elements of Neolithic pastoralists with smaller Berber elements. The rock art evidence suggests that the pastoralists associated with the early phases of Neolithic rock art were primarily black. Primarily black. This is what they're saying, man. This is not Reggie or Unc or any of you fools that's on in the community, in the conscious community, or any of you fools and the Black Hebrew Israelites or anybody. These are experts. So let me read this again. The rock art evidence suggests that the pastoralists associated with the early phases of Neolithic rock art were primarily black. But in the late pastoral period, there are also images of light-skinned people of different physiognomy. Go ahead, bro. What you got? Oh no, hold on. Let me just keep going and dig this knife in a little bit deeper.
Yeah, go. Yeah.
Some of the evidence from early Garamantians, because he's gonna bring up Garamantian phase, supports the amalgamation theory rather than the notion of direct replacement. In particular, early Garamantian funerary structures and settlements like Zenketra featured material elements that were very similar to the late pastoral ones, alongside things that were obvious innovations brought from outside the Sahara. You see, that's migration, right? Where the Garamantians, they're in Libya, they're in North Africa. Now, listen to this. While some, such as the developed agricultural package, attest to connection with the Nilo-Mediterranean world, others, such as ceramic technology with roulette, decoration, and grog temper, attest to the connection with West and Sub-Saharan Africa. This is what the difference between people that study this and people that just make fucking videos like you do, Chief X. The latter. Hold on, I'm not done. Let me drive this knife in and twist it real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
The latter. What's the latter? The connection with West and Sub-Saharan Africa. The latter reminds us that the amalgamation process relied on multi-directional connectedness. Multi-directional connectedness. Is that not what we showed you in the DNA and genetic profile of these people? Is that not what we showed you? Different arrows coming from North Africa, coming from Libya, coming from Tunisia, coming down and amalgamating in West Central Africa, coming from Afro-Asiatic speakers of East Africa, coming from the Sudan, coming from Western Ghana, Nigeria, and coming and culminating and all becoming what we see today. This is a multi-directional connectedness, and it's been going on for thousands of years. This is why when you go to fucking India, you see West African crops. That's why when you look at the Levantine DNA genetic profile, you see West African DNA, not just autosomally, and maternal DNA. You see it in Egypt. These people are not boxed in a prison that you done made up in your fucking head. You got it, Avery. You got it.
Man, my internet's acting kind of slow, but give me 1 more minute. Go off.
All right. Yeah, man. Yeah, I'm good for going off
to
on
bring
niggas.
up some North African stuff here in a minute, but go off.
You know I'm good at going off on niggas, right? You should never said that. Right? So what do we learn? That the professionals in the field, they look at the Neolithic art as evidence of them being primarily black. They also look at the ceramic technology, the grog temper, attest to the connection of West and Sub-Saharan Africa with the Garamantes, right? The Ibero-Mauritian DNA test study showed that it was 30% Sub-Saharan African, so they was traveling back and forth too. That was 15,000 years ago. We can keep going. Ancient Egyptians have a Sub-Saharan African autosomal component as well. I mean, we can keep going. EM78 being in West Africa, what is it doing there? That's a Berber lineage. EM81, Berber lineage. That's in West Africa. That's showing you that these people are migrating southwards. And you have people migrating northwards, right? Which we're going to deal with when we get to the second video dealing with the Green Sahara, right? So let me show y'all something else in this book, man. This book is full of jewels, man. This book is full of jewels. Let me just.
All right, I'm gonna say something real quick and then let you rock.
Yeah, man.
All right.
So, let me go here real quick. There's many places I can go in here, but I want to go about the high. And that's another thing. Africans were highly mobile, and he's trying to tell you they not. They were stuck. You know what I'm saying? That's idiotic. Saying that North Africans didn't migrate down past the Sub-Saharan Africa and vice versa. That's idiotic. We have a multitude of proofs showing the opposite is the truth. So when we go to page 24, let me get this real quick. Then I'm gonna give it right back to you, Avery, real quick. I think the people need to hear this shit because we don't make the video about the person. Well, it's not for the person. You know, he can go to hell for all I care. But this is just a learning moment for y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? This is a learning moment. So, Avery, I want to share this last thing, then I'm gonna give it over to you. All right?
Yeah, I'll be ready when you're done. Just had to pull up a few things. Not gonna be long. Just want to, yeah.
Yeah, this is gonna be real quick, just to remind people of the mobility of Africans, which this person is trying to rob Africans of mobility. You know what I'm saying? So let's do it like this. Share stream, boom, window. So again, we're on page 23 here. And we're going to start here. It says the idea of migration is enshrined in literature on North Africa from an early date, but primarily developed as a part of a specific and simple discourse of nomadism. In extension of this, some scholars have recently stressed the importance of mobility and migration for strengthening social relationships, contrary to the Europeans' perspective of creating disorder, especially, listen to this, in African context where a high level of mobility is considered normal. If you listen to this guy that doesn't read, that doesn't study, he will try to make it seem like nobody was mobile in West Africa. Nobody moved. They was potatoes. They stayed in one area. You can't even compare that to vegetation because vegetation spreads. So that don't even make sense. They were statues. But high level of mobility is considered normal when we deal in African context. All right, bro, you got it. You got it, Avery.
Yeah, so he said, I think what did he say? Prove that there was black
Nappy head
Africans?
black people in North Africa, and he's going to say even outside of Africa.
Okay, so prove that there was nappy head black people in North Africa. Got it. So this right here is a reconstruction of ancient, very ancient North African, Jebel El Herud. I may have mispronounced that, but you can find this in the museum in Denmark. And I think he's a black, nappy-haired sub-Saharan African. He dates back to about 300,000 years ago. He's a very early first human, a Homo sapien, and he was in Morocco. That's about as North African as you can get. And he's black with nappy hair. And, you know, the interesting thing about this is that now scientists are positing that, you know, instead of East Africa, where humans could have originated from or evolved from, it actually could have been North Africa that humans could have originated from because of this remain right here, an anatomically modern Homo sapiens sapien. And the reason why this makes sense is because of him being 300,000 years old, is because of this. It actually turns out that when it comes to haplogroup A, the originator of the human species, haplogroup A00 is actually about as old as the reconstruction I just showed you of the Moroccan sample. Haplogroup A00 is a deep divergent haplogroup, having split from all other known human lineages about 300,000 through 200,000 years ago. And haplogroup A is OG African. It's OG human, very first African. And we find that it being 300,000 years old is about as old and around the same time again as, hold on, let me share this again, as Jebel El Herud. All the early human populations would have looked similar to this guy. They would have been dark skinned. They would have been curly haired. So any humans 300,000 years ago, all the way up to like the Neolithic period, are going to be dark skinned and have curly hair. But let's go a little bit further in time. We also have a population of people. Let me see if you can see my screen. We also have, yeah, you can. We also have a population of Homo sapiens known as the Aterians. The Aterians would have looked like this. Again, black skin and kinky curly hair. And the Aterians are a middle Paleolithic period. They live 92,000 years ago. 92,000 years ago, the only haplogroups to exist would be haplogroup A and maybe haplogroup B. Either way, we're dealing with Paleo-Africans, ancient humans, ancient Homo sapiens sapiens living in North Africa. And I'll show you. It says it right here. The Aterians were a people from the Middle Paleolithic era, whose earliest remains have been discovered in North Africa. I'm going to show you a distribution of their sites. So let me share my screen.
Pay up, nigga.
So here's
I want that nigga to pay up, man. You ass betting, man. You ass betting like nobody can come up with the answer, and you ain't up to date with the science. And we showing you that dark skin is not exclusive to sub-Saharan Africa. You goddamn idiot. Now go, man. Cook this nigga, man.
So here are Aterian sites that have been found. So we see that they're in Niger, which is in the Sahel area, but we also see that they're in Libya, which is North Africa. There are also Aterian sites have also been found in Egypt, which is in North Africa. It's also been found in Tunisia and Algeria, which is North Africa. And it's also been found in Morocco, which is North Africa. And so these Aterians, let me go back to this screen. These Aterians are very ancient humans, likely carrying haplogroup A, and they're black, and they're in North Africa. And as a matter of fact, I'll even read this right here. Let me go over here. No, I don't like I don't like using Wikipedia as a source. But if you want to find the original source for what I'm about to read, go to number 9 right here in the references, and the source is right here. It's from a paper from 2013. I'm just going to read it off Wiki because it's faster when you get back to the video. But basically, it says also reckoned that this person, Sasiri, I believe, but Sasiri in 2012 also reckoned that the Assyrian peoples were ultimately of sub-Saharan African origin, or as we have proposed, they dispersed from Ethiopia by way of the Sahel and Lake Chad and the interglacial Sahara wet periods. And this is very important when it comes to the Sahara wet periods because I thought that link would push. But basically, the Sahara wet periods are times when the Sahara desert gets wet because it goes through wet and dry phases. And in these wet and dry phases, this is when humans can populate different parts of North Africa. I want to see if I can find like this map is sort of a good example of that. And we'll dig deeper into this when we get to his next video. That's kind of blurry. We'll dig deeper into this when we get to his next video, the whole Green Sahara thing. But I just want to point out that yeah, he's completely wrong. There was definitely black-skinned, kinky, curly-haired people in North Africa as far back as 300,000 years ago with the Jebel sample with this guy, who is possibly our ancestor or one of our ancient ancestors, and even closer in time, if you consider the Middle Paleolithic closer, but even closer in time with the Tyrians, who are ancient North African people, likely carrying haplogroup A and B, and that's Paleo-African. That's like true African, and they're in North Africa. So, yeah. Anyways, I'm done. I think I'm repeating myself. Go ahead.
Oh, you got to twist that knife, man. Pull up the Gobero facial reconstruction.
Gobero? Hold on, let me see. Right here? This one?
Facial reconstruction.
That's not it, is it?
Should be a woman with her kids.
Gobero. Oh, I know what you're talking about. Give me a second. Let me see if I can find it.
Pull it up.
Those were Keithians. Hold on. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
I got it here. I got it.
Okay.
So, Green Sahara. Barrel story. I want y'all to see this, man. This dude's making these dumbass. And then we can go to Europe. We can go to Otzi. They just did the study with Otzi. Otzi, the Iceman. He was dark skinned. The early Cro-Magnons, the dark skinned, basically like Africans when they do the facial reconstruction. I mean, we can go all night on this. We go all night on this, man. Let me pull it back real quick.
Let me go back to the Assyrians real quick. Since you're doing that. Unless you found it already.
I did.
Okay.
I wanted to get it from that website, but anyway, here we go. So this is a facial reconstruction of a Saharan, an ancient Saharan. These people, because he also mentioned that people didn't live in. We're gonna get to that. This is what they look like. All right, this is what they look like.
She looks no different than a modern day Tuareg who lives in the same area.
Right. This is what they look like. This is 5,570 years ago. Pay up, nigga. Pay up. That's what they look like, man. Matter of fact, let me put this in the chat. These are from Gobero, Niger. This is in the Sahara, man. Yeah, man. Pay your fucking dues, man. Pay your dues. Hey, when I blow it up, can you see it? Does it blow up too? Yeah.
No, it doesn't. I mean, it's still kind of small a little bit. You might have to double click and then push.
There it is. There. You can see the man in the background too. I know you got an image of him too, right? The key.
Yeah, I can pull it up. Hold on.
Yeah.
I got one with two of them, with both of them together.
Necklace of hippo ivory. How they get hippo ivory? Because he also says in the Green Saharan video that they were afraid of the animals. Why would they live with dangerous animals? Are you fucking dumb? The savannah's still filled with dangerous animals, and people live there.
Yeah, for real. I
Shit's
mean,
stupid.
at some point it becomes a little. All right, here I'm about to share my screen.
Go ahead, you got it.
At some point it becomes a little retarded. It's like, what the heck? All right, there we go.
Oh, you want to do Egypt? There it is. That's the Kefian right there.
And they lived in the Sahara.
We
Yep.
lived in the Sahara, dude. Where you also gonna say and make the claim nobody lived in?
Here's another reconstruction of excuse me. Yeah, Kefians. Let me see if I can. Oh, that didn't work. Give me a second. Right
But
here.
if we really want to do you dirty, we can give you the dark skinned Caucasian. I'm talking about Trans-Caucasus area. You know
Yep.
what I'm saying? Facial reconstructions to really fuck you up. That's all the way up there in the Caucasus region. Go ahead, bro.
No, you're right. And I'm gonna try to blow this next image up right here. Here's another reconstruction of the Kefians that would have lived, like we said, in the Sahara, and they are dark skinned with curly hair. This is a artist rendition of them. And the interesting thing about Kefians is that it's actually highly believed that Niger Congo peoples or Bantu, Proto-Bantu peoples actually descend from Kefians. You'll find studies that even say this. So, but that's a whole nother thing. We'll probably wait later to talk.
Man, you want to keep stomping this nigga? Watch this. Watch this. Like I said, it's different between you actually read and study shit. When you read and study, hey, that image is false because he said they wouldn't be with wild animals. They wouldn't be around hippos, even though they're wearing hippo jewelry and necklaces and shit. Remember that?
Believe it or not, humans lived around dangerous animals.
Thanks. So this is the book I showed you guys earlier: Burials, Migrations, and Identity in Ancient Sahara and Beyond. We're on page 171 now, and it's dealing with the dental dimensions, right? Um, so it says here, uh, figure 5.6 shows the distribution of this diameter in the foot, and other skeletal samples, individuals from various regions of North Africa, divided by different chronological and cultural horizons. The sample from Fouet and those from the Wadi Tansuf falls within the variability of Nubian and West African groups of the late Holocene. Let me say this again. It falls within the variability of Nubian and West African groups of the late Holocene. So you would have had people looking like those Kefians, looking like Black Africans in the North. And this is why this book also talks about it's a danger to try to back project what you see today into the past. If you go back 8,000, hell, 7,000 years, most of Europe is dark skinned. Most of the fucking planet is dark skinned. If you go back that far, trying to back project what we see today does not work. Go ahead, bro.
No, you're right. It really doesn't, because Chatterman is the easiest and a perfect example of how human populations have changed over the years. Chatterman was found in the UK, found in Britain, and he carried haplogroup I, and autosomally he was I believe, a West modern day people that live in Britain that carry haplogroup I. However, he was dark skinned. Chatterman had black skin and black, really, like, I guess you can say, frizzy hair, but he had blue eyes. So yeah, looking at ancient, like, assuming that humans today look exactly like their ancestors 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 years ago is completely inaccurate. I just showed y'all Jebel Er Harud, the sample from the remain from North Africa. He's possibly all of our ancestors if he carried A00. That means he would be the ancestor of George Washington and Donald Trump and you know, Vladimir Putin, Kim Jong-un, anybody that's a human today, that black-skinned that Moroccan remain is all of our ancestors. Or if he's not our ancestor, certainly we have an ancestor that would have looked very similar to him, because all humans were dark-skinned 300,000 years ago. That's a long time. All humans came out of Africa and descend from ancient Paleo-African populations, going with, the secular understanding of science. But anyways, go ahead. I'm rambling.
So this is the fate, and this is another thing about he was disingenuous with the phenotype thing, because now he's trying to use phenotype to validate a point of saying that, these people didn't migrate. But again, phenotype can't show you that alone. You need genetics, you need other things, material culture, so on and so forth. But as you can see here, because D-Red brought up a point where they say, oh, the Egyptians weren't black. Well, here's a facial reconstruction of an Egyptian that died 30,000 years ago. What does he look like? What does that look like right there, Avery?
Push it. Yeah.
Blow
He looks like he has dark brown skin. He has kinky curly black hair. He doesn't look like Brad Pitt. I'll say that. He doesn't look like Donald Trump or Joe Biden.
I guess this is the Afrocentric. This is the work of the Afrocentrists.
And the interesting, my bad, go ahead.
What are you saying? Go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
The interesting thing about this Egyptian guy that they found is that he's dated to be what, 35,000 years ago, correct?
Mm-hmm.
It's likely that he's either going to be one of three haplogroups. This guy is either haplogroup E, haplogroup A, or haplogroup B, because we know that he's likely not a J marker, because the J markers didn't even enter the Levant until the Bronze Age. It's likely this guy isn't, let's say, haplogroup R, because haplogroup R migrates into Africa about 10,000 years ago when the Sahara turns green. Mm-hmm. And this guy's 30, he's 30,000 years old, over 30,000. He's likely not haplogroup. What's another one? G. He's likely not a G2A haplogroup.
It's impossible for him to be any trans-Caucasian. It's less likely for him to be any trans-Caucasian haplogroup. Man.
Exactly. He's not going to be any of the CF downstreams. He's likely going to be either like haplogroup E or maybe A or B. And this guy is in Egypt. He's dark brown, curly, kinky hair. And yeah, his MT DNA is likely going to be a L markers. It's either going to be L0, L1, L2, L3. But I highly doubt it's going to be K or H. This guy is likely, he's a legit African, this dude.
Hey, say my nigga, I want my money, man. I don't play about my goddamn money, man. Say my nigga, I need some more money. You made a bet that your ass can't, cash. So, excellent points. Let's get back to this dude, this Goofy, man. Let's get back to this Goofy real quick.
And place themselves in that spot that they don't belong to. First off, years ago, my circle don't claim to be Native American no more. Why? Because Chief X had to debunk that shit with about 20 presentations. Some of y'all ain't subscribed to my YouTube, so you wouldn't know. Now they don't claim to be Native Americans no more. People used to, for decades, claim to be the Moors, M-O-R-R. And I told people, you guys have been for decades arguing about the etymology of the word Moor. I said, stop. Fuck the etymology of the word Moor. I said, what you're supposed to be focused on is who is a Moor, not the etymology of the word Moor. When you get into the etymology, that was what I call a deflection to throw you off. You're supposed to find out who the Moors are. And I had to make about 3-4 presentations that were hour long, debunking that and telling you African Americans, you niggas are not the Moors, and the Moors were not black people. But since they was into the etymology, when they go to the etymology, Moor means dark. So they was tripping on the etymology instead of who a Moor was. A Moor is, you don't have to believe me, you can look it up. 50% of the people in the conscious community still think Moors were black people. A Moor is a northwestern Muslim, mainly in the Maghreb area, Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Mauritania. They're northwestern or a North African Muslim or Berber, which they call Amazigh people, who conquered the Iberian Peninsula, or Spain, whichever word fits your boat. Black folk, sub-Saharan Africans, tropical Africans never conquered Spain and has nothing to do with fucking Spain or the Iberian Peninsula.
This is just ostensibly false. I mean, there's a lot of points that you make, because the reason what he suffers from is he doesn't understand genetic overlap. He doesn't understand that people are mixing and amalgamating. E1B1A, E1B1B, some T and some R markers. They were involved in that Moorish thing. You know what I'm saying? And this is what people don't understand, bro. You don't understand this. We did find an E1B1A marker. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The one in Cordoba, I think it was.
Cordoba, yeah.
Yeah, there is an E1B1A Moorish sample.
Yeah, man. Let me pull it up real quick.
There's E1B1A also found among the Amazigh, the Berbers. I mean,
right. Oh yeah, of course. E1B1A is 10%, and it had nothing to do with how they look.
No,
it has nothing to do with their phenotype. These people could have been pale white with blonde hair. They still got the paternal markers that tie them back to Igbo, Yoruba, and other groups, man. The Ghanaians you was bringing up earlier.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like for instance, the Tuareg peoples carry E1B1A among their population, and they have a variety of they have a variety of phenotypes, and yet they're a Berber or Amazigh people, and they have E1B1A among them.
Right. I'm gonna let this video play. I want to find this website real quick. Hold on.
That was an Arab thing. Arabs conquered Spain. Arabs enslaved sub-Saharan Africans. Amazigh people and Berber people enslaved sub-Saharan Africans, aka tropical Africans.
Which this is also a moot point, because tropical Africans, air quotes, enslaved other tropical Africans. They're probably the ones who initiated the slave trade.
Yeah, I don't
thousands of years before European intervention. Go ahead, bro.
No, I don't get his point. Like, what's the point of saying that Arabs enslaved Africans and Amazigh enslaved Africans? Some sub-Saharan African kings, like the people in Mali and Ghana and Songhai, probably had Amazigh or Arab slaves right back. So it's like, I don't get the point.
Turkey, yeah,
I don't,
because they think this is how you know he's Afrocentric. He's like, oh, you're Afrocentric. The Afrocentric have been saying this for years. Why would you claim them? They stole your people into slavery. Don't you understand that the biggest players in slavery were the damn people in West and Central Africa? They were the biggest components in slavery, bro. Without them, it wouldn't be no damn slave trade. You know what I'm saying? The Arrow Confederacy, the Yoruba, without them, it would not be a slave trade.
Hausa, Fulani, Yoruba, Igbo. These tribes were at war with each other and they enslaved one another.
The homie, like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
They were so thirsty to sell slaves that even after the British ended slavery, they kept illegally selling slaves.
Yep.
It got so bad in certain parts of West Africa, which I brought out in the prior episodes, because we actually read here. Without Garfield, that motherfucker don't read. You understand? We're not him. That like a third of the population was considered slaves at one point. It got so bad in West Africa. Silly argument.
Yeah, I don't get his point in mentioning slaves. Like, what? Everybody enslaved everyone.
Yeah, it's called rebel rousing, man.
They're not the same people. So I had to make video after video dispelling that black folk aren't the Moors. Moors are Berbers and Arabs. Or Arabs and Amazigh people, if you don't like the word Berber. And they are straight hair or loose curly hair people. They are not nappy-headed people. Moors are not. I had to go over. Now everybody understands that they weren't the Moors. So all this culture vulture shit, Chief X had to break down. All this theft of history, Chief X had to debunk. Now, last year, I had to debunk that the ancient Egyptians is not black people. The ancient Egyptians were not black people. And what happened was niggas had for years and decades thought that Nubians and Egyptians were the same people. They were dead fucking wrong. They are totally different people. They speak a whole different language family. Nubians are what we would consider black people. Egyptians were not black people. So what had happened was that Nubians conquered Egypt for 100 years almost out of 3,000-year history of Egypt. 3,000-year history of Egypt, Nubians who came up from the south after Egypt was in its decline and falling off and doing bad, then the Nubians were able to conquer Egyptians and took over politically, right? And what happened was they have Nubian statues in Egypt. So people were confusing Nubian statues and Nubian artwork with Egyptians. They had it all confused. I had to iron it out. Nubians and Egyptians are not the same people. They're totally different. One kinky hair, one straight hair. The ancient Egyptians
pause real quick. Yeah. So when it comes to Nubians and Egyptians, he's saying that they're not the same people. Technically, in many ways, they actually are. Like Sudanese people, I'm just going to say Sudanese. Sudanese are Nubians. A lot of them carry, for instance, haplogroup J. And many Egyptians also carry haplogroup J. Many Nubians or Sudanese also carry haplogroup E. Many Egyptians or Coptic people also carry haplogroup E. And then maternally, you find the L marker among Sudanese and Nubians, and you find the L marker among Coptic Egyptians. And then you find other Eurasian MT haplogroups like M and K and U and H and stuff like that. And also among Nubians and Sudanese, Nubians/Sudanese and Egyptians, is you can even find haplogroup A or B. So technically speaking, he's actually wrong. Just because a certain group of people might have a slightly different language family or culture doesn't mean that they're not genetically related. A Nubian, like for instance, if a certain, actually, I was going to use a scenario, but I'm not going to do that because that's going to take too much time. But basically, a Nubian can carry E1B1B, and an Egyptian can carry E1B1B, and they're both related, no matter how different they look. The Egyptian can be super light skinned with straight hair and dark eyes, and the Nubian can be black skinned with kinky hair and dark eyes, but they're still related if they both carry E1B1B. So again, he's conflating a lot of information. He doesn't understand genetics, and he doesn't understand that you can't always equate phenotype with DNA. You can't equate phenotype with haplogroups and stuff like that. But go ahead, Jishu.
Yeah, he act like he understood that earlier. Then he just contradicts his point of biodiversity in Africa. And just because you look like somebody, well, guess what? The opposite is true. Just because you don't look like somebody doesn't mean there's some relateness or overlap there. Which you just keep repeating in this video. Like the theme in this video has been, they don't look like each other. You gotta have nappy hair. These people don't gotta have nappy hair. These people got straight hair. The whole argument is phenotypic. But I want to go back to your Spain argument. Look at all that. These are Africans. EM81. Would you disrespecting the Berbers or disrespecting our North African brothers? We all come from the same branch, E1B1. You understand? We all yap. Y'all do that demarcating shit. At the end of the day, we all yap. We share a common ancestry, no matter what language you speak, no matter what culture you keep, what God you pray to, what religion, no matter. Biologically, we descend from the same male. Right? But I want to show this right here. EM180, as you guys can see, maternal EM180 and H1, which is a maternal European marker, about 1,000 years ago in Spain, and it's considered Muslim. This was found in Granada, Spain, man, Andalusia. This would have been involved with that Moorish complex or Moorish amalgamation. Sub-Saharan Africans don't have nothing to do with it. Then why the fuck do you got E1B1A in the mix? E1B1A is in North Africa. And as we can see, E1B1A was in Spain during the Moorish period, rocking with his EM81 brothers. Just like we see with the Tuareg. The Tuareg are an amalgamation of E1B1B carriers and E1B1A carriers. They're like damn near 40% E1B1A U175, bruh. But you dealing with science. No, you're not. You dealing with what Garfield and them deal with the Fugazi shit.
And let's not forget about the female lineage. A lot of them also carry L markers as well.
That's a fact. That's a fact. The mitochondrial DNA is well traveled. Let me blow this up so you guys can see right here. EN180. That is E1B1A. Found in Spain during the Moorish period. E1B1B. That's all Yap. We're going to represent Yap, nigga. You niggas, matter of fact, you're not even a part of the clan. You ain't part of the tribe. We don't know who the fuck you is, man. Where your grandmama stay, nigga? Who the fuck are you? You ain't even Yap. You ain't even showed your Y chromosome. You want to talk shit? That's half you niggas on the internet. Y'all don't want to show y'all DNA, but want to talk about other people's ancestry. Reveal your own ancestry first. Stop being a coward. Niggas scared of their own goddamn ancestry. Want to discuss my ancestry? You got some fucking nerve. Let's go, man. Niggas not even African like that. Let's talk about it. Niggas not even from them motherfucking places. You ain't even got ancestry in Western Central Africa, nigga. You probably from fucking Poland somewhere.
Well, hold up now. Let's leave the Polish people out of it. No, I'm joking.
You probably from the Czech Republic somewhere, nigga, eating blood sausage, you goofy ass nigga. Fuck wrong with you niggas, man. Probably from Wales or some shit.
Are Caucasians. Now, when I say Caucasian, people's mind, when you're not literate in this field and talk or physical anthropology, people's mind go to white folk. That's not what Caucasian it means all the time. Arabs, Berbers, Iranians, people from the Middle East, people from Kazakhstan and the Caucasus Mountains are considered Caucasian people. So when I say Caucasian, I'm not talking about somebody from England or Germany. I will say European for them. So when I say Caucasian or Eurasian, I'm not saying European, and I'm not talking about people from England, Britain, fucking Europe, and France. Although they're under the category of Caucasian. These are categories. Okay.
Right.
I had to prove that Queen T and King Tut, one of the most popular ancient Egyptians, are Caucasian. We went through their DNA. If you're not a YouTube subscriber and watch my YouTube videos, you won't know. So let me bring it to you, Facebook. Queen T and King Tut were of Caucasian descent. Their ancient ancestors come from West Asia or the Levant.
Where's your DNA probably come from, nigga?
Also, he's
What's wrong with this nigga, man? Go ahead.
Also, he's conflating a lot of terms. So,
yeah, hold on. Who do you mean? What do you mean, you? African Americans are R1B, just like King Tut, you goofy ass nigga. They from West Asia too, you goofy ass nigga. You probably from West Asia, nigga. You probably a Naya child, nigga. Fuck wrong with you, man. You probably share the same common ancestry as King Tut and Queen Ty, you bitch ass nigga. See, that's what I'm talking about. Y'all try to make every African American the same and homogenize them. There's diversity there. The same fucking, y'all don't go back. How do you know? How do you know, man? You's a goofy goober, man. What the hell wrong with this dude?
Let me turn this around so you can get a better understanding of what the fuck I'm talking about. We having class today, family. Let's go. Let me turn the light on. Africa all in my house. Let me clean my screen. Africa all in my spot. Lions in Africa all in my spot. My whole motherfucking couch. is an African village. You hear me? So don't listen to niggas talk about Chief X. Okay, now here we go. Bam! You ever wonder why everything is centered right here? The Hebrew Israelites claim to be from here. The Egyptomaniacs claim to be from here. Everybody is fighting for this central area throughout history. Right? So I said King T, King Tut, and Queen T come from West Asia. This is considered West Asia. It's the western part of Asia. We consider this West Asia. These people are Caucasian. Okay? Now, this is the Levant. This is West Asia. This is the Near East. So when people in North Africa are traveling for 30,000 years, they were going in and out of these areas. They were not going below the Sahara. African Americans, we're sub-Saharan Africans. Algeria, Libya, Egypt, Morocco, Tunisia has never, ever, ever, ever been Black Africa. This is what you guys need to know. This is what Afrocentrics refuse to teach you. You know why? Because they want you to continue to think that you have something to do with ancient Egypt, and you don't have shit to do with ancient Egypt. People in the Levant, the Near East, West.
Again, you just brought up King Tut and Queen Tai, and they have Eurasian or West Asian ancestry, as you brought up. They R1B. Well, African Americans contain R1B. You got some sub-Saharan Africans that are in the Hausa tribe that contain R1B, some Fulani that contain R1B, some Ghanaians that contain R1B. So there is some genetic overlap there. They can make that claim because they got R1B. You shot yourself in your damn foot, man. That's an incomplete analysis that you made there. You understand? So when we look at let's look at African Americans. Let's see if I pull up a quick article on it. African American. Let me put R1B. Let me type that in there like that. I don't like Clyde, how do you say his name? Clyde Winters. But this is a quick data point I can do real quick. If it's paper load up. Article. Oh, this is not Clyde Winters. I was about to say, man, I was like, I can't stand that dude, bro. But just to make this quick point about the DNA that comes from Europe. Let's just type in R1B, go straight to it. Oh, well, they didn't give me the paper. Hold on, y'all. Let me let this play while I get this real quick. Hold on.
Asia and North Africans have something to do with Egypt. Egyptians are North Africans. I'm not a North African, and most people listen to me are not North African. So Queen T and King Tut's ancestors come from out this area, and they've always been migrating in and out of here for 30, 60,000 years, in and out of here. You call it migration and back migration. Migration and back migration. Sub-Saharan Africans didn't migrate out of here to populate a motherfucking thing. This is in the title. Sub-Saharan Africans, me and you, did not migrate out of Africa here and populate the world. That is a fucking misinformation that Afrocentrics have taught you guys. And that everybody.
As y'all can see, he doesn't believe Sub-Saharan Africans didn't do any migrating. We already showed that in the beginning of the video. That's not true. But let's talk about African Americans real quick. Let's go here. So, as you can see here, Sohail Baharin et al. And the Great Migration of African American Genomic Diversity argue that much of the genomic diversity of African Americans result from the Great Migration and admixture with whites. Although this is their view, that the actual diversity among AAs is probably a result of African ancestry and admixture with Black Americans. And I don't like Clyde. I think that's some Clyde Winter shit there. But the point I want to bring out here is there's little evidence of African European admixture in North America until the Civil Rights Movement. Using census data, found that less than 20,000 mixed marriages occurred between 1850 and 1970 in the USA. As a result, we have to look elsewhere to explain the frequency between 17 to 22% R1B Eurasian admixture among African Americans. I just wanted to bring that data point out that 17 to 22% R1B amongst African Americans. So when you're addressing African Americans, you have to address the component also of these people that are actually descendants of Europeans, which I believe Chief X himself is a descendant of Europeans. He descends from M269. He shares the same ancestry or common ancestry with King Tut, right? With Queen Tai, with these 18 dynasty kings that have this R1B lineage that many African Americans that walk around today have. So for you to make that stand, you have nothing to do. Yes, they do. Jabbar, you R1B, you got something to do with King Tut then. It's just that simple. So this is the egregious part. This is the part of the video I want to get to. Let me rewind this back real quick.
Me and you did not migrate out of Africa here and populate the world. That is a fucking misinformation that Afrocentrics have taught you guys. And that everybody in the Black conscious community say, we populate the world, we rule the world, straight bullshit. This was a new world. They've never been populated by nappy-headed people. You know how? You know, because when you go in the Amazon jungles in Brazil, which is the Western hemisphere, this is the new world, and it's a new world for a reason, because it was new to humanity. 15,000 years ago was a fucking ice age called the Laurentine Ice Sheet. Look it up. You ain't got to believe me. The Laurentine Ice Sheet. What? No.
Let me go back a little bit. I want this point right here.
Come from out this area. And they've always been migrating in and out of here for 30, 60,000 years, in and out of here. You call it migration and back migration. Migration and back migration. Sub-Saharan Africans didn't migrate out of here to populate a motherfucking thing. This is in the title.
Did you hear that?
Oh boy. Yeah, I heard it.
Sub-Saharan Africans didn't migrate out of here to populate a motherfucking thing.
Conflating a lot of terms again. I don't know where to begin. Oh, I mean, you go ahead and then I'll chime in.
I mean, that just show that Sub-Saharan Africans did migrate outside of Africa. Just real quick, this quick point. I'm gonna go to haplotree.info again, and I'm gonna type in Israel.
Yeah, I know what you're going to.
Come on, man.
I mean, it's like he's never even heard of the out of Africa migration. It's like when these human populations come out of Africa, technically speaking, like let's say, well, I know what you're about to show. Go ahead.
Yeah, that would be Sub-Saharan Africans migrating out of Africa. DE split and D migrates outside of Africa. This depends if you put DE in Africa. If you follow that model, then you will be saying that Ainu people, Tibetans, early East Indians, right, and coastal people would have migrated from Sub-Saharan Africa outside of Africa. Like, it's easy. We easy dump you with shit like that.
Yeah, like for one, all human populations descend from archaic hominids. And then anatomically modern humans, like I said, originated about 300,000 years ago. This would have been haplogroup A. Then you go from haplogroup A to haplogroup BT. BT splits, you get B and you get CT. Like these human populations descend from, out of Africa, human populations descend from Paleo-Africans. Now, with that being said, that's not saying we're not saying that E1B1A is Paleo-African, because it's not. But E1B1A descends from out of Africa populations like CT. And the thing is, he's saying that Sub-Saharan Africans never migrated out of Africa, but he's using geographical locations and not using genetics, because when it comes to haplogroups, E1B1A technically doesn't even descend from Sub-Saharan Africans, in the sense that haplogroup DE likely didn't even originate in Sub-Saharan Africa. It likely originated either in Arabia, when its ancestor CT migrated out of Africa, or somewhere near the Red Sea in Africa, but it's likely outside of Africa.
Right. As you guys can see here, L3B1 found 6,150 years ago in the Israel Chalcolithic in the Peking Cave. That is a West African marker. What the hell is it doing outside of Sub-Saharan Africa? After you said these people were migrating. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it again, man. Hold on. Let me type in L2A1. Let me type that in real quick. Oh, that didn't come up. Hold on. Let me do it like this. Let me go to Syria. Let me type in Syria. I know it's there. So what the hell is this sub-Saharan African group, L2A1, doing in Syria 4,500 years ago? And if I click L2A1, it's been found in Spain 3,632 years ago. You said these people wasn't migrating. It was found in Bulgaria 4,650 years ago. You said these people were not migrating. What the fuck? L2A1 was found in Syria. We brought that out. L2A1 in Tanzania 3,023 years ago. L2A1 also found in Italy. L2A1 also found in Spain during the Islamic period. I thought they weren't migrating. In this fucking video, this is what you said. Let me go back.
30, 60,000 years in and out of here. You call it migration and back migration. Migration and back migration. Sub-Saharan Africans didn't migrate out of here to populate a motherfucking thing.
Sub-Saharan Africans didn't migrate out of here to populate a motherfucking thing. That was his words.
Oh, man.
That was his words. And even we go back to Spain. Let me go back. We brought this out before to a nausea.
Yeah, when done, I got something to show you. I'll show
We
the
got
audience.
there's an older marker in Spain. I'm trying to remember which one it was. It might be this EL618, but there's also an E1B1A marker in Spain that spans back. There it is there. No, that's not it. I can't find it right now, but I brought it out before. The E1B1A marker that in Spain. Oh, no, in France. My bad. Let me type in France. My little cheat sheet here, man. Go ancientdna.info. Real quick, you can get all the samples real fast. Here it is, right here. Boom. EZ16056. That is E1B1A. What the fuck is a E1B1A clay doing in France 5,439 years ago? I thought sub-Saharan Africans do not fucking migrate. I thought they were born legless. I thought they were statues. I thought they were gargoyles. Y'all remember gargoyles? During the daytime, they turn to fucking statues. They can't move. I thought that's what it was. Oh, but, you know, we actually read books here. We actually study. Didn't we read earlier that Africans were highly mobile? Right? Didn't we read earlier that North Africans had some of the phenotype or earmarks of sub-Saharan Africans when it came to material culture and also phenotypically? Didn't we read that? This motherfucker don't read.
Nope.
That's the problem. You don't study. You don't research none of this. This is what makes you a dilettante. You don't care to. You're a doctrinaire. You said these people don't migrate. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, so actually give me one more minute. I'm trying to find a chart. Just
All right,
take it for one more minute, and then
I got you, because we're gonna bring this up later on anyway. So let me just show him something, because this is not just about E1B1A. He brought out West Africa, a geographical location. This place is inundated with several different diverse groups, right? Several different diverse groups. Peopling of the last Green Sahara. You know where I'm going real quick. So within this paper, let me go down to the chart. Real quick. You got all these clades associated with the Green Sahara. You got A3M13. You have EM2, which is E1B1A. You got EM78, that's E1B1B, and RV88, all culminating and amalgamating to make what we know today as West Africans. All these clades are amongst them. And they were in the Green Sahara together. So saying these people didn't travel, Doesn't make any damn sense. Let me go down to the EM2. So this is E1B1A. We brought this out before to ad nauseum on the channel. Oh, they don't travel. What does this say here? The blue margins. Let me see how good this is on the screen. Okay, y'all can see that. Y'all can see that, right? The blue margins is North African. So obviously there was some migrating going on here. And here's the most interesting thing about this chart. You go to EM2 ancestral. Some of the most ancestral clades is almost exclusively North African. Almost exclusively North African. Meaning, if you bump into E1B1A in North Africa, most likely it's been there. Because that's most likely the conception of EM2 in North Africa and all its clades. Right? So as you can see over here, let me do my clade real quick. EU290. My clade is partly North African, partly Sub-Saharan African, and a lot of African Americans have my clade. EU174, partly North African, a lot of Sub-Saharan African, and a lot of African Americans have that clade. Right? When we see here, EV4990 is exclusively North African. Why is that? If E1B1A was just stuck in Sub-Saharan Africa, why do we have clades that exist outside of Sub-Saharan Africa? Oh, no, it's just slavery. These damn clades are too damn old to just say slavery. You can't say trans-Saharan Arab slave trade. That was mostly female mediated, not male mediated, which this paper actually addressed.
Yeah, good point.
So what are we doing here, man? All right, so watch this. Let me get down here. I'm going off memory here. It says here, the same pattern was also observed when only Western Central Sahelian groups of Sub-Saharan Africans were considered. Northern Africa versus Western Sahel. This data suggests that the presence in North African or Sub-Saharan patrilineages was not due to recent contacts. So that kills the slavery argument, but probably occurred in more ancient times. So we actually deal with science here. Now, what does it say? Possibly during the Green Sahara period, considering the correlations ages of the clades. Again, what I showed you earlier, the most ancestral E1B1A markers are almost exclusively found in North Africa. Everything in Sub-Saharan Africa are downstream clades. So you follow the parent stock, you follow the ancestral clade. Bingo, this is where the distribution started. So let me read that again. This data suggests that the presence in Northern Africa of Sub-Saharan patrilineages, remember he said this is impossible because they don't migrate, was not due to recent contact. So that's the transatlantic slave trade, that's the Arab slave trade, but probably occurred in more ancient times, possibly during the Green Sahara period, considering the correlations ages of the clades. Our findings seems to be at odds with genome-wide studies reporting a recent relevant Sub-Saharan genetic component in modern North African populations, mainly attributed to the Arab slave trade. This apparent discrepancy between inferences based on Y chromosomal autosomal data could be the consequence of sex-biased Sub-Saharan contribution to the Northern African gene pool that occurred in historical times. Indeed, it is known that trans-Saharan Arab slave trade involved twice as many servile women as men, almost the reverse of the Atlantic slave trade ratio. Moreover, few male slaves left descendants, whereas male slaves were imported in Northern Africa as household servants and as concubines, and their offsprings were born free, thus contributing to the local gene pool. Thus, we suggest that the Arab slave trade mainly contributed to the mtDNA and autosomal gene pool of present-day Northern Africa, whereas the paternal gene pool, the male side, was mainly shaped by more ancient events. Let me read that again. Whereas the paternal gene pool was mainly shaped by more ancient events. This hypothesis is in line with the genome-wide data obtained from the 3 ancient Egyptian mummies dated between 2.5 2,000 years ago, showing a not negligible ancient sub-Saharan component, approximately 6 to 10%. So these people have been migrating. This is what happens when you actually fucking read. This is what happens when you actually read and you study. You don't do and repeat and regurgitate the dumbass sentiments of Garfield and Chief X. What you got, Avery? Talk to me.
Yeah, so going back to the whole out of Africa thing, because I actually wanted to touch on that some more. So he said that, basically he said that the out of Africa population was not sub-Saharan Africa, and we weren't part of the out of Africa movement, and that some groups did migrate back into Africa, and he gave, some years, talking about, 30,000 years ago and stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is, one, populations of people that carry, let's say, E1B1A, or just haplogroup E in general, as a matter of fact, do descend from out of Africa populations, and they literally were the ones that were part of the back to Africa migration. So let me just show you that, and then we can move on. So here is a chart that shows, here's a chart that shows the haplogroups. You see a haplogroup A, haplogroup B, and it then shows the out of Africa. So haplogroup BT is considered the ancestral haplogroup to out of Africa populations. Haplogroup BT has a split. You have B over here, which stays in Africa. Then you have CT, which is often considered Eurasian Atom. If you type in haplogroup CT and Eurasian Atom, this guy is considered to be the one who left Africa, and BT is ancestral to it. And so this would mean haplogroup DE, which descends from CT, would have been outside of Africa, as well as CF, which is pretty much exclusively Eurasian, with a few of its descendants migrating back to Africa in more recent times. But DE migrated into Africa in more ancient times. And here's a chart that actually shows and represents this. Haplogroup DE, which represents basal Eurasians or ancestral West Eurasians, would have migrated back into Africa from the Middle East about 75,000, well, less than 75,000 years BC. It would have migrated into East Africa, which would include E1B1A markers. So E1B1A was once in East Africa, not in West Africa, but over time they migrated into West Africa, likely traveling from East Africa into the Green Sahara, and then dispersing from the Green Sahara, going all directions, going into West Africa, going into North Africa, going into Egypt, and et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, he's kind of wrong in saying that sub-Saharan Africans never migrated out of Africa, because haplogroup BT likely was sub-Saharan African. It likely originated in sub-Saharan Africa, or maybe even East Africa, but that's still sub-Saharan Africa. And our ancestors, anybody who carries haplogroup E, would be part of the back to Africa migration. Anyways, go ahead. That's all I gotta say.
All right, so I got everything we needed from that first dumbass video. I just wanted people to know some of his talking points and his stance. Now let's move on. Took a little bit more time. There's a lot of things we want to dive into there and share with you guys. Let's move on to his Green Sahara video.
No, I was wondering if we're gonna save that for tomorrow because we took 2 hours.
Yeah, we might. Hold on. Let's see. Let's go to this Green Sahara video. How we do, man. So he's got a video. It's the Green Sahara Afrocentric argument destroyed, right?
So basically, if you believe in the concept that certain West African groups descend from Green Saharan populations, then you're an Afrocentric, basically, with that title. That title implies that.
Right. Makes no goddamn sense, man. All right, so here we go.
Drop shot the red dot. Everything I'm rapping, niggas in my pockets, to be honest. Get a nigga from the damn promise. I keep seeing that head dipping in the bank. I'm not for the school. More damn idiot school. We make tango, make things to do. Who's the damn camera? Type bags on the battle like.
Before we play the video, there's one thing I gotta say, and it's that, well, two things I gotta say. In this entire video, if I remember correctly, he only reads one, maybe two articles, and that's it. If I remember correctly, is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, only one or two, which is insane to make a point such as, you know, the Green Sahara Afrocentrist argument, like only reading one or two papers to prove that West Africans or the ancestors of West Africans was never in the Green Sahara. That's not enough information to disprove that. But also, he's going to say some things, and y'all are going to hear in a minute, some really dumb things as to why humans could not have been in the Green Sahara, such as he says that the reason why humans, particularly sub-Saharan Africans, could not have been in the Green Sahara, and even North Africans, is because of wild animals. Humans were afraid of wild animals, and they thought they would get eaten by hippos and crocodiles, and so they stayed away from the Green Sahara and were only on the outskirts of the Green Sahara. And the reason why this is insane to think of, because he's acting like there aren't any dangerous animals in sub-Saharan Africa. It's like, the reason they didn't go in is because of animals. Like, that's one of his main arguments for this is the animals. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's crazy. But go ahead, y'all about to hear me.
It's like people live around big cats, hyenas, fucking hippopotamus, crocodiles, all that shit in Africa right now. Like, that don't even make sense. Let's just say anything to try to trap West Africa. And it's not just an E1B1A thing. There's an RV88 thing, an EM78 thing, and an AM13, and all the rest of the clades in between. T clades, all the clades that are there. You're just trying to trap people because you got this racist ideology and you got this invisible force field. Like I said the other day, this dude think he Ganondorf, right?
Gandalf.
He's standing in the Sahara. Ye shall not pass.
How did the R1Bs get from the Balkans to Cameroon if no one can pass through the Green Sahara?
It's so stupid, bro.
How did R1B get there? I don't know.
It's called extreme stupidity.
Oh, you know, I know. Hold on, get back to this camera. Okay, so I know it's I got coffee. It's ain't nobody gonna pay attention to me right now. It's 2:23 in the morning in California. So it's 3:30, 4:30, and 5:30 elsewhere for the majority, I would say, of my YouTube family. So I know everybody's sleeping, nobody paying attention. But since it was on my mind, I said, let me just do this little live, and then I'm taking my ass to bed, right? Watch me move and go to bed. I said, let me do this live while it's on my mind and kind of shut this silly argument down. You know how people hang on to certain things and have hope and be wishful, you know? Folks just be wishful and having hope for stuff's out there and hanging on, right? And just can't let go, right? It's like it's a sweater. And all the sweater's made up and knit tight and solidified, and it's just a little thread hanging from the sweater. Y'all just be hanging on the threads. Maybe it is hopeful. Oh shit, we got a thread. So this is one of them thread moments. I'm about to shut down. If I'm gonna clip this thread. Y'all like my cup? I got this when I was in New Orleans in the French Quarters. Like one of my favorite coffee mugs. I said, let me clip this thread so they won't have that argument no more. And continue with that wishful thinking, right? So let me just fuck with some people before I go to bed, right? So anyway, let me get into this. I ain't gonna be long. I'm just gonna sell this since it's on my mind. I was just looking into it. Just some things came to my mind. But here we go. Let me share my screen. Okay. Where's the article I want to start off with? Okay, right here. There's an article I want to start off with. So the Green Sahara, just for anyone who's maybe just listening or what have you, or new to this discussion, or this specific argument in this discussion of history we're doing, different arguments and come out and people try to fit themselves in certain ways, and people don't want to be sub-Saharan African nowadays. They say that's racist. They want to cut all strings. This is what it is mentally. They want to cut all strings. They want to blend it all one. Let's all get along. We all are one on the continent. All is love, and an African is an African, whether he a Moroccan or Ethiopian or Sudanese or Nigerian, what have you. An African is an African. We all one.
whatever another African's achievements is, that's my achievements too. That's what it boils down to. Listen to me. Whatever them Africans achieved, whether they're not related to me in any kind of way or not, that's my achievement, and I'm celebrating. Go ahead. I ain't mad at you. So here we go. So the argument. Let me tell you. So the argument is the Sahara 6,000 years ago, 6,000 years ago, was so-called green, and lush in some areas, and the Earth turned on its axis and it dried up. It's been dried up for 5,000 years now, right? And not really penetrable. It's like a natural barrier, preventing plants, animals, and humans. You don't see no animals in the damn Sahara. And damn well ain't gonna be no humans in the Sahara.
You
right?
don't see animals in the Sahara?
So there's an argument that when it was green, that perhaps this is the hope of the Afrocentric.
You don't see animals and humans in the Sahara? I mean,
you don't see snakes. You don't see caravans. You don't see traders. Like, come on, bro.
I guess the Tuareg don't exist.
Beetles.
The Tuareg people don't exist then, because they're literally smack dab in the center of the Sahara.
Yeah, they desert people, man. You don't see this is the level that these people like Garfield and Chief X would stoop low to, man. You don't see animals. Remember Garfield said, nobody could penetrate the Sahara. Get your goof ass on somewhere, man.
Yeah, I got a source for that.
That perhaps there may have been a group of sub-Saharan Africans, and they based it off a few rock art pictures, right? This is how thirsty it is. Now, former friends and friends of mine are supposed to be scientific, and they basing their arguments off of rock paintings, right? So, and because of the rock paintings are of a dark hue, they're claiming the rocks to possibly be black folk, or they're trying to allude to, and some are saying that these are black folk, and they are the ones who started ancient Egypt, the culture of ancient Egypt. So this is where they're trying to slither their way in. Now, this is that one thread they're hanging on. I'm gonna cut on off, right? So it's mysterious people that lived in the Green Sahara, right? So let me just give you a real quick, my understanding real quick. So people didn't live in the Sahara. It's kind of savanna. Now you do have some people live in the savanna, but not really. Sometimes it can be dangerous with animals, right? So mainly the people lived on the outskirts of a savanna, right? Or the outskirts of the Green Sahara, closer to the Mediterranean, what have you, right? And where's my note? Let me just go ahead and read this because I don't want to be on that. Mysterious people that live in the Green Sahara. For almost 10,000 years, this was a landfill with lake, rivers, forests, but what happened to those people, right? So they're alluding to the sub-Saharan Africans were in there. So I say that there wasn't many humans living amongst animals and wildlife. There could be people on the outskirts, but not just living in an area that's teeming with animals. You get what I'm saying? So I'm saying they're on the outskirts. So these people migrated away over time, and it begins to get heated up in the area, and the climate change, and people kind of migrate over, 100 years, and things just fucking change. Well, let's just get into this argument. The mysterious people that live in
So he's not even reading the article. He just giving you his own damn spiel. So basically what he just said, because I didn't sped this shit up. We in the lightning session of this video. He basically said that the Green Sahara was not populated, which nobody's going to say that that's actually in the field. No one's going to say that. Because there's animals there. If they were there, they'd be getting eaten up. There's animals in Africa today. What the hell? Humans have been living with animals forever. What are you talking about? Humans have lived with megafauna. Bigger animals than there are today. What are you talking about? Again, this is not anything or sentiment he's getting from the article. This is some shit he done made up in his head. It's called an ad hoc or post hoc fallacy to try to combat the fact that the Green Sahara is proving that migrations did happen in both or multiple directions.
I told y'all his main argument for why people didn't live in the Sahara is because, or the Green Sahara, is because of animals. That's his main argument, bro. Animal, like Africans and like sub-Saharan Africans don't live among animals today.
That was so dumb.
The main argument, like,
Green Sahara for most 1,000 years. This was a landfill with lakes, rivers, forests. But what happened to its people? Okay, here's a little map. The Sahara Desert is a desolate place. It's desolate. And for thousands of years, it acted as an impassable barrier, dividing humans, animals, and even plants. This is true. But it wasn't always this way. The Sahara Desert was once green and lush with freshwater lakes the size of countries, fast-flowing rivers that cascade down valleys and forests so dense that you think that you were in the Amazon. But then something changed. The water basin dried up and the trees shriveled away, and the rolling green hills transformed into an inhospitable wasteland. How did it go from being paradise to a scorching hell? And it has a question mark. scientists have discovered roughly every 20,000 years, the Earth shifts its axis, meaning that over the last 240,000 years, Sahara has gone through multiple periods of wet and dry clouds. The last green period ended around 5,000 years ago into the growing desertification, meaning it's becoming a desert, of the region. Unfortunately, that's the period we're in now, and it'll last yet for another 10,000 years. But for those that lived in Sahara during the green period, what was life like? What would they have seen around them, and where did they go when everything around them began to transform into parched sand? Okay, so that's just the opening for this article. So we're gonna move along. I don't want to boggle you down. Let me just get to some things I'm talking about, right? So when the land was drying up, in other sources I was reading and I was coming across as I've been thinking about this and reading over the last few months. What's up, Marco Maxwell? All right. So, okay, where did I leave off at? What was I saying? Massive lake covered for more than this massive lake covered. No, I'm trying to find something. Okay, so what I was saying was these people who were there over time migrated somewhere, and the consensus from what I've been reading and seeing and hearing and putting together is they migrated north. That right there kills the Afrocentric argument in itself. If they migrated north, we know what's in the north. We've been over this lately. We've been over this all year long. We know, and we now know that North Africa was never Black Africa. We've argued that out and figured it out. That's kind of like a given right now. Okay. So one example of one of these civilizations that was in the Sahara is saying right here, one of these examples of such a civilization was the Garamantes. But let me get back to that. We're gonna go over that. What did people do when the Sahara became a desert? Is a topic right here. We know that the desertification of the Sahara did not happen overnight. It took place over many generations and prompted the early inhabitants to migrate what? Northwards. That's a consensus. They migrated north. So whatever is in the north is what more than likely was doing the rock paintings and things like that because it's in North Africa in what is now called Libya. Okay? That's North Africa. So people.
And also, it wasn't just a northward expansion as well as a southward expansion. But also, I want to say this. So what he's admitting, whatever's in the north, yeah. What happened after the damn desert, the desert process? Yeah, we had people starting to push south. They pushed south. That's mainly a lot of these EM2 markers. They was pushing south because the desert was starting to form again. It started to get dry again. They lost their pluvial deposits. They lost their economy. Their pastoral package could not be sustained there no more. So they had to go places that were more wet, more lush, more green that could sustain those packages.
Exactly, like Der Tichet, which was formed by Proto-Mende peoples, who typically carry E1B1A. It's anything you read on Der Tichet would say that they descend from Central Saharan hunter-gatherers or Central Saharan pastoralists. They're literally coming from the Central Sahara. Anything you read on Der Tichet or the Nok culture, information on that would say that the people who built the Nok culture descend from Central Saharan pastoralists or Central Saharan agro-pastoralists or hunter-gatherers, whatever. And it's believed that the people of the Nok culture will be the ancestors of certain groups like Yoruba and Igbo. So technically speaking, Proto-Mande peoples, Yoruba and Igbo peoples, they descend from literally people from the Sahara, in the center of the Sahara, which would have been the Green Sahara. And why are they in West Africa today? Because North Africa began to dry up.
Yep. Yeah, the southward expansion, man.
Yeah. It went all directions. It went south, it went east, it went north, and it went west. All directions. Because humans, and I'm going to show y'all in a minute, I'm trying to find a study on this, but humans were the reason, as a matter of fact, it's funny that he's saying that, oh, there was no people in the Green Sahara, but it's quite literally because there were so many people in the Green Sahara that it caused it to dry up. Because humans had their animals eating up all the grass, and that started to affect the environment. And it started to get drier and drier and drier until it became a desert. And there's a lot of other factors, by the way. It's not just because of that, but a large part is because scientists and archaeologists would say that there was a lot of people living there, and a lot of the grazing sort of caused it. It was just one out of many effects which caused the Sahara to turn green. Excuse me, to dry up. But I'm going to show y'all here in a second, and Jashoub can play the video. I'm still going to try to pull it up, of how populated the Sahara was at the time. But you can go ahead if you have anything to add, or if you want me to play the video.
let me just go real quick to the Note people to show that this was a southward um, progression. I'll just show a few of these points real quick of these people coming in from the Sahara after the desiccation of the desert, and everything gets dry again. And these people say, "Okay, let's go somewhere that's far more conducive for survival." Um, so as you can see, hold on, let me share my screen here. Share my screen real quick so y'all can see what I'm reading. Again, this is from good old Kendall. This is from the Oxford Handbook of Nigerian History. And when we talk about the Note culture, this comes around second millennium BCE. What does this say here? The first inhabitants. Let me see if I can blow this up. I want to make sure y'all can see this. Let me go to tools, text speech, help, go, view, show display options. Okay, page width. There we go. Let me increase that. And let's try to increase the font size here. All right, so right here, hopefully y'all can see that. Hopefully that's better. It says here, the first inhabitants of the Noke region likely immigrated from the Sahel during the second millennium BCE, cultivating plants indigenous to a region further north. So we know these people came from the north. Why? Because we know what type of plants they came with. You know, one of those plants that we know that they came with, right? Not sorghum. It was at the tip of my tongue and I just lost it. Pearl millet is right here. Pearl millet. And you can actually trace, let me drop this real quick. You can trace the pearl millet migration. Let me pull that up real quick. Google pearl millet. Distribution. Distribution. Yeah, so and all you Africanists out there, the Noks are not indigenous to Nigeria. They actually migrate there. All right. Let's see. I want to find an image that I put in my group. It's a very good image that shows the migration of pearl millet. So I'll let it play, and then I want to show you that. Show that these people were coming from north to south. So let me share this again.
People who were there, this kills the Afrocentric argument. They migrated northward. So let's just say from 6,000 years on now till now, their DNA is northward, is in the north, is in North Africa, or along as a Mediterranean culture. This is just pretty much simple logic right now. Okay, so let's get on back up to where I was. I moved my highlight. Okay, so one such people is spoke of when they're talking about a culture that could have been part of the Green Sahara civilization, or was the Garamantes. You see right here, the Garamantes. Now, let's read who the Garamantes was. The Garamantes, you can see right here. Let me blow it up. Let me get this lecture over real quick because it's late as hell. Okay, the Garamantes. Okay, the Garamantes, Arabic. Okay, Berber, right? Were an ancient civilization based primarily in what? Present-day Libya, North Africa. Off the rip, we know they were the kinky-haired black people. Now, there's some understanding that they could have been mulatto. I'll get back to that. Okay, when I say mulatto, I mean just mixed. They had a little bit of sub-Saharan Africa, but it's some North African. Okay, they primarily present-day Libya. They mostly likely descend from what? Iron Age Berber tribe from the Sahara Desert. They were a desert tribe. Okay, they were a minor desert tribe at that. So put all those lives together, a minor tribe. They were a Berber tribe from the Sahara. Although the earliest known record of their existence dates to the 5th century BC, little remains of their civilization. As their epigraphy is nearly indecipherable. Much of what is known comes from the contemporaries Greek and Roman foreign accounts. Right now, this is Greek and Roman foreign accounts. Greco-Roman world didn't have any accounts unless it's something in the North Africa, Egypt area. They had provinces in Morocco. I guess we call it now, but I got that wrong. But close to Morocco.
All right, real quick, I want to show the.
AD 300 AD.
I'm going to gonna show why he's trying to explain away the evidence. I'm gonna show this right here. So this is from the Question of Right, which is ritual pearl millet consumption and note culture sites Nigeria second and first millennium BC. And as I brought up earlier, that the note would have migrated from the north. They would have came from the Sahel. They would not have been indigenous or autochthonous to Nigeria. There's no evidence of that. But the reason why they know that is because their pearl millet. There it is, right here. Here's the map. Their pearl millet cultivation. Again, cultivation is a human activity. You need humans to do it. So if you see a crop being cultivated here in Northwest Africa, right here, northern part of Mali, you see right there where it says 17, and then it makes its way all the way down and it begins to be cultivated further and further south, making its way all the way to Ghana. That lets you know that these people were pushing from a north to south climb. And then they begin to inhabit these places. In fact, you don't even see large flung populations in places like Nigeria, in places like Ghana, until after 2000 BCE. Because these people don't get there yet, and they don't get there with the agro-pastoral package that supports large flung populations. Because you gotta be able to feed a population to let it grow. Hunter-gatherers are usually smaller groups, smaller and scarce groups. Prior to this period, you don't really see that many dense populations in West Africa. But if you follow the cultivation of the crops, from the older crops to the younger crops, you can clearly see that these people that made it to West Africa, they're coming from the north to the south. These people were clearly in the Green Sahara. They were clearly there. You're cultivating crops up here. It's a desert up there now. How are you cultivating crops? Because it was a different climate. It was more lush at that time. And as the desert spread and it grew, these people went south. See, I don't like to hear that. See, that's you are a real Afrocentric because you believe, like Garfield believed, that niggas was in Nigeria and Ghana for 40, 50,000 years, stagnant, static, not doing nothing but standing there like statues. But the evidence shows that these people are migratory. Right. Anyway, get back to the video. And as we showed earlier, the Green Sahara includes E1B1A, and it includes RV88, and all these. Matter of fact, let me go to that real quick. So when we go back to the peopling of the Green Sahara, share this tab right here. Let's go back to that real quick. We've already proven that these E1B1A clades are ancient in North Africa, not from recent events. They use the ancient sub-Saharan African DNA, which they call Yoruba DNA, that was found in the 3 ancient Egyptian mummies, to buttress that claim, right? So let's go to RV88 real quick, because that's another thing too. We just West Africans, they were stuck. How the fuck do you explain RV88? And how do you explain EM78? You brought the Berber tribes. EM78 is in West Africa, dumb. You just don't study this stuff, bro. And it's clear, it's evident. All right, so let's start here. It says the multifurcated structure of EM2 is suggestive of a first demographic expansion, which occurred about 10.5 thousand years ago at the beginning of the last Green Sahara. After this initial expansion, we found that most of the trans-Saharan lineages within A3, M13, EM2, and RV88 radiated a narrow time interval at 8 to 7,000 years ago, suggestive of population expansions that may have occurred in the same time. Interestingly, during roughly the same period, the Saharan populations adopted pastoralism, probably as an adaptive strategy against a short, arid period. So the exploitation of pastoralism resources and the reestablishment of weather conditions could have triggered the simultaneous populations expansions observed here. RV88 also shows signals of further and more recent, approximately 5.5 thousand years ago, Saharan demographic expansion, which involved the RV1589 internal clade. We observed similar demographic patterns in all other haplogroups in about the same period in different geographic areas. A3M2, M13, EM2, and EM78 in the Horn of Africa, EM2 in the Central Sahel and Central Africa, in line with the hypothesis that the start of the desertification may have caused massive economic, demographic. What does demographic mean? The movement of people and social changes. So these people were all in the Sahara. And then as it became a desert and the desert began to grow, these people started to move. That's what demographics mean. That's what that studies. Finally, on the onset of the arid conditions at the end of the last African human period was more abrupt in the Eastern Sahara compared to the Central Sahara, where extensive hydrogeological network buffered the climate changes, which were not complete before approximately 4,000 years ago. Consistent with these local climatic differences, we observed slight differences among the four trans-Saharan haplogroups. Indeed, we found contact between northern and sub-Saharan Africans went on until approximately 4,000 years ago in the Central Sahara, where we mainly found the internal lineages EM2 and RV88. I thought they wasn't traveling. I thought they was stuck. I thought you're trying to say, oh, the Berbers are trying to make us one group. There's a multitude of people in the Green Sahara, man. In the Eastern Sahara, we found a sharper, more ancient, less than 5,000 years ago, differentiation between the people from Northern Africa and more generally from the Mediterranean area and the groups from the East Sub-Saharan regions, mainly from Horn of Africa, as testified by the distribution and correlation ages of A3M13 and EM78 lineages. So the conclusion is our data suggests that favorable climatic conditions and fertile environment established in Sahara in the last African human period promoted the occupation. People live there. And dispersal of human groups and contributed to the present distribution of wild lineages in northern and sub-Saharan Africa. On contrary, historical events such as the Arab slave trade have only a marginal role in wide genetic composition of African people. Our emphasis are based on the assumption that the migrations events that occurred in recent times are reflected by recent correlation times of wild lineages. To support our assumption, we can include a study a large number of African, European, and Eastern ethnic groups, both from our lab collection from literature data, in order to consider much genetic diversity as possible. However, we cannot completely exclude the presence of informative haplogroups in other populations, regions absent in our sample collection. More sample efforts could lead to the identification of other informative data from other populations in these findings to refine our inferences. Nonetheless, the study highlights the importance of the targeted selection and analysis of uniparental haplogroups with a relic distribution to understand past human history, which could be concealed by genetic changes caused by successful events. So again, as we can see, these people did live in the Sahara, and we can see that dispersal. We can see EM2 in North Africa, A3M13 in North Africa, RV88, and of course EM78 in North Africa, as well as in Sub-Saharan Africa. At one point, they were all together. As you can see, these EM2 markers here have a lot of North African. But I want to go up here when it talks about the dispersion RV88. Where did RV88 come from? Because again, remember, he said these people did not migrate out of Sub-Saharan Africa. He believes migration didn't happen the other way as well. The presence of two-nested RV88 basal European clades can be related to the high frequency of RV88 internal lineages in the Central Sahel, assuming a movement from Europe toward the Central Sahel across Northern Africa. This right here just kicks him in the ass. This kicks him in the ass. How does RV88, which is a European associated lineage, in prior episodes we brought out that this lineage is related to early Balkan people, right? And it makes its way to the Trans-Saharan movement into the Sahel. That goes your fucking theory on West Africans never traveling. These are West Africans. They were all the way there. No, they wasn't. They was in fucking Europe. Let me read it again. The presence of two nested RV88 basal European clades can be related to high frequencies of RV88 internal lineages in the Central Sahel, assuming a movement from Europe toward the Central Sahel across Northern Africa. In turn, considering the trans-Saharan distribution starlight topology of the subclade RV1589, it's likely that this lineage rapidly expanded in the Lake Chad area between 5.73 5.25 thousand years ago and moved backward to northeastern Africa across the Saharan region. So not only they go from Europe to North Africa, across the Sahara or the Green Sahara this time to the Central Sahel and to Lake Chad, they back migrate out of sub-Saharan Africa, which you said was impossible and never happened, to northeastern Africa across the Saharan region. That's why I'm like, there's more tools in this box. This is more than just one clade of people you talking about. RVA, A markers. You got the E markers, E1, B1B, E1, B1A markers, E1A markers. This is obviously showing diversity and migration. The large majority of RV1589 internal lineages harbors both northern and central Sahelian subjects, with the exception of RV4759 and RV5781, which are mainly restricted to Northern Africa and Central Sahel, respectively. So these are Northern African people and Sub-Saharan African people within this clade. Showing you they wasn't stuck. How you get that? They migrated both ways. They got descendants in both parts. The presence of a precisely dated and geographically restricted clade RV4759 in Northern Africa allowed us to define its correlation age to 4.69 thousand years ago as a lower limit for the backward RV88 trans-Saharan movement. So wait a minute. So this one clade just kicks you in the ass because RV88, the ancestors of these Chadic people that have the RV88 and the Tobo that have RV88, not only migrated from outside of Africa into sub-Saharan Africa, which you said was impossible, they back migrated as well, which you also said was impossible because you said there was no people leaving sub-Saharan Africa. They stayed there. Not these West Africans. Matter of fact, most of these West Africans were not static. They were going back and forth. And we can do another 2-3 hours showing that through cultivation, animal husbandry. Let me show you something real quick. Hold on. Let me show you something. Let's go back to the book, the Oxford Handbook of Nigerian History. And maybe sometime this week I'll do a whole video dealing with this topic on Nigerian prehistory. So when we're dealing with animals, well, what does domesticated animals show you? We brought this out before. Transhumed. That means people have transhumed those areas. Why? Because you need people to know how to domesticate that animal. So if you have domesticated animals, then you need people to domesticate the animals. You need people that are familiar with the breed, familiar with the animal's characteristics, and able to break them and able to get them to do a particular task or role. They have to come from those areas, right? So all this fugazi shit that y'all trying to do to try to make it seem like West Africa is an island and not a tract of land connected to other places is just bullshit, right? It's just bullshit. And I'm here to call it out, man. Let me pull this up real quick in this book. I got a lot of stuff out of this book, man. Y'all in trouble, man. Niger was underwater and uninhabitable. Let me see if this is here. I could have went to this, man. The immigration of Saharan origin. Here we go. This is it. This is the page here. So I want to share this right here real quick, man. I know it's late, y'all. Just bear with me, man.
When you're done, have something to show you.
All right. So look, this is the Oxford Handbook of Nigerian History. This is page 112. Let's start here. It says around 3000 BC, accordingly, the southern Sahara lakes began to dry up, and even enormous Lake Chad decreased. This is what we was talking about, right? So this is what forced people to move southward, and of course, people moved northward in all directions. But there was also a southward migration as well, which he is denying. It says here, by 2000 BCE, at the latest, this late Holocene aridity pushed the pastoralists living in the southern Sahara into the Sahel zone of West Africa, where they initiated the beginning of a new epoch with deep socio-economic changes. Though diffusionist explanatory models are met with explanatory models are met with more skepticism today than they were in the 20th century, population movements cannot be dismissed out of hand. Let me read that again. Population movements cannot be dismissed out of hand. In case of migration from the Sahara to the Sahel, the evidence is provided not only by the plausibility of climatic arguments, but also by various finds and find context. Strong evidence is also given by the origins of cattle and caprines, those are goats, such as sheep and goats. None of these have wild ancestors south of the Sahara. Sheep and goats don't come from sub-Saharan Africa. So where did it come from? You got to have a know-how to how to domesticate them, and then you have to have people migrate with that know-how into your region to be successful breeders and domesticate them in your zone. None of these have wild ancestors south of the Sahara, but only in northern Africa and the Near East, where the domestication is attested long before the appearance in the Sahel zone. Their origins must therefore lie in the north. And because domesticated animals do not migrate alone, hello, somebody got to be fucking listening. Because what do you need to do? In order to domesticate an animal, you need a human. And since these animals' origin lie in the north and the Near East, you need people from them regions that understand the behavior of those animals to domesticate them. Let's read it again. This is in the Oxford Handbook of Nigerian History, by the way. Their origins must therefore lie in the north, and because domesticated animals do not migrate alone, their owners must have migrated with them. I'm walking away from the fucking computer. You niggas is retarded, man. You niggas is goofy as fuck, man. All you niggas, bro. That's why y'all don't want to debate. None of you niggas won't smoke because you get your ass kicked every fucking round. Anyway, let me keep reading. Temporal spatial models of the spread of cattle and sheep goats throughout Africa is based on carbon-14 dates of the earliest finds. All show similar pattern into which the new finds have so far been easy to integrate. The earliest finds of domesticated cattle stem from the central and eastern Sahara and decrease in age as they move south through the sub-Saharan regions. So what does that show you? These people that have the know-how to domesticate these animals come from the north and they make their way down south. Comparisons between finds in the Sahara Desert and the Chad Basin provides archaeological arguments for a Saharan origin of the first Chad Basin settlers after reducing Lake Chad water levels. Why is that important? Because you motherfuckers don't even know that most of these places are flooded and uninhabitable prior to this period. That's another thing you niggas y'all don't know nothing. So they would live above those places, not in those places. They not mommy water. They're not Aquaman. They're not mermaids. They can't live in fucking submerged in fucking water. After reducing Lake Chad water levels, pottery finds are particularly compelling, while ceramic finds in the Sahara are remarkably old. Pottery appears in northeastern Nigeria only from the second millennium BC onwards. That is, beginning in the period in which pastoralists would have drifted south. What did this nigga just say? There was no southward migration in the video? Didn't he just say that dumb shit? Occasionally, older finds date back as early as 5000 BCE, and based on stylistic similarities, these suggest contact between the Sahara and the Sahelian Chad Basin. These suggest contact between the Sahara and the Sahelian Chad Basin. This is exactly what we just read about RV88 and EM2 and EM78. These people have been going back and forth. These people have been migrating backwards and forth from the north back to the south. Some making it all the way to the Near East, as we brought out studies on that as well, with the head louse coming from West Africa, having its origin in West Africa, ending up in the fucking Levant. Certain cultivated crops, again, cultivation is a human activity. You need humans with the know-how to do it, finding its way all the way to fucking India. And vice versa. Crops coming from the other direction finds all the way to sub-Saharan Africa. These people were fucking migrating. They were not static. They were not statues. They were not gargoyles. You niggas believe in gargoyles. You think West Africans are gargoyles. Soon as the fucking sun come out, they turn to statues. This is the level of idiocy we deal with every day with you motherfuckers. Anyway, it says, based on stylistic similarities, these suggest contact between Sahara and the Sahelian Chad Basin. Such finds, however, were exceptions and did not mark a profound innovation in the life of the hunter-gatherer groups. It's only in the early second millennium BCE that a significant change in pottery occurrence can be determined, likely indicating, I'm going to read this slow for Chief X, likely indicating the immigration of Saharan pastoralists only from this period onwards. The ceramic finds predominate numerically and can therefore be considered a fine category characteristic of the time. The resulting conclusion that the popularity of ceramic technology is linked with the arrival of Saharan migrants is bolstered by the fact that the ceramics of the southern Sahara and northeastern Nigeria's Sahel during this time exhibit a marked similarity of production technique and decorative patterns. All right. I'm done, man. What you got, man? I'm done, bro. Ain't no point, man. These niggas fucking stupid, bro. Go ahead, man. What you got, Avery?
That was a lot. So just to give my POV on what he said concerning humans not being able to live in the Green Sahara, and concerning that most of the humans, it's kind of weird because it kind of flip-flops. He says, humans that were in the Sahara migrated north. So it's kind of weird. It's like, were they there or were they not there? But anyways, so to address his point, one thing I'm going to prove is that there was humans in the Green Sahara, and that there was movement of those humans in the Green Sahara into West and Central Africa. So the first thing I want to show is, and it's just a simple chart, just showed this earlier, but this is from this paper right here, a history of male migration in and out of the Green Sahara. And what it shows is a chart right here. From 12,000 years ago all the way up to the current age. All of this green represents the Green Sahara. 4 major haplogroups, haplogroup A, haplogroup E, well, technically 3 major haplogroups, haplogroup A, haplogroup E, and haplogroup R. And we see E-M2, Green Sahara, basically E1B1A would have been in the Green Sahara. And so with him saying that there wasn't any humans in the Green Sahara, it's just false. We had E-M78 in the Green Sahara. All this green shading, by the way, in the paper represents the Green Sahara. So EM78 was there. That's typically found among the Amazigh or the Berber peoples. You have RV88, which can be found among Cameroonian peoples, but also sprinkled about in different parts of Northwest Africa. We also have even haplogroup A was in the Green Sahara, A3-M13. And we also have E-M2, like I said earlier, that's E1B1A, and it would have been in the Green Sahara. But these populations began to disperse from the Sahara as it began to dry up. And so we have E1B1A going into West Central Africa. We also even have some E1B1A going east, going into places like Egypt, and some of it going northwest into places like Morocco and Algeria and around. And so I'm just want to read this really quick. Zoom in. See if I. So let's see, where should we begin? So it says simplified Y chromosomal phylogeny and inferred past or observed present day distribution of relevant Y chromosomal lineages, calibrated of phylogenetic tree of Y chromosomal lineages discussed in the text. Green shading represents the period when the present day Sahara Desert was green and fertile. So like I said earlier, all this green represents the Green Sahara. Anyways, it says lineages represented by filled pentagons have undergone very rapid expansion. The Green Sahara period, 5,000 through 12,000 years ago, green shading indicates that the present-day Sahara Desert was green and fertile. The colors within the large oval represent the 4 Y chromosomal haplogroups deduced to be present in the region at this time. Specific locations are not implied. The arrows indicate the inferred origins of these haplogroups to the north or south, but specific origins and roots are not implied. The present-day distributions of the 4 Green Sahara Y chromosomal haplogroups, yellow shading indicates the Sahara Desert. So right here, scroll down. This yellow shading represents the Green Sahara turning dry, becoming a desert. So that's the yellow shading it was talking about. Go back up. So it says yellow shading indicates the Sahara Desert. Each circle represents a sampled population with the presence or absence of the 4 Green Sahara haplogroups shown by the colored sectors. Other haplogroups may also be present in these populations, but are not shown. And it says the small arrows indicate the inferred northwards and southwards movement of these haplogroups when the Sahara became uninhabitable. So this paper right here literally says, yes, some people migrated northwards and southwards. And Chief X basically said nobody migrated southwards, but this paper right here proves otherwise. And this paper also aligns with what Jashub read earlier about Nulk and the Dertiche culture, these peoples who were once in the Green Sahara migrating and creating those cultures and those civilizations. But there's one more thing I want to read and show y'all, which goes further into this. So here's a paper that deals with the, scroll to the top, that deals with the population of the Sahara at the time. This paper is titled The Demographic Response to Holocene Climate Change in the Sahara. And so this is going to show you how populated the Sahara was at the time it was fertile. So let's scroll down to the relevant portion. Give me a second.
Hey, you know what's funny about that? Him denying southward migrations. We literally have a European, Balkans European haplogroup that's dominating like Western Central Africa right now.
Exactly. It's like, how did R1b get there if it didn't migrate like literally through the Sahara? Yeah, it makes no sense. But so this right here, y'all should be able to see these still shots or still frames And the basically the heat map that you see is the human populations that was in the Sahara. And as we can see, they're smack dab all over North Africa. They're literally in the middle of the Sahara. They're in the east of the Sahara. They're in the west of the Sahara. But let's actually read this figure. This is figure 5. And then I have something else I want to show y'all, and I'll be done. So it says figure 5, still frames from the kernel density animation shows the key stages of demographic development across time and space. A shows initial early Holocene incursions into the Sahara between 14,000 and 11,000 years before present. And so it said A. This is A right here. Each one of these still frames has a letter. So there's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, etc. So let's go back. It says B through C. This is B through C. It says B through C shows gradual population increase across the Sahara between 11,000 and 10,000 years before present, especially in the eastern Sahara and northern Air Mountains. D shows exponential growth, especially in the eastern Sahara. E shows the early Holocene population peak around 7,500 years before present, with most regions except the western littoral being populated. F shows population retraction, especially in the central Sahara, and the start of occupation along the western littoral. G shows renewed population expansion in the middle Holocene. H shows retraction in all areas, coinciding with the termination of the AHP. And I shows depopulation of the Sahara and southwestward movement of late Holocene populations. So literally you have people, like when the Sahara is being depopulated, people began to move southwestward. What population is southwestward of the Sahara, Jashu? Southwest.
Shoot, Nigerians, Mauritanians, Senegalese, Ghanaians, West Africans, man.
Exactly. And this fits perfectly with what you read earlier about Dar Tichet. Like these peoples from the Sahara are moving southwestward, which is in the location of Dar Tichet. It's in the location of Nok. It's in the location of where a lot of these modern day E1B1A populations are and these Niger Congo speakers are. And so what I want to show y'all now is in this paper that I just read to y'all is actually a heat density animation. And it shows you how the populations were kind of booming in the Sahara around the time of the Holocene. So tell me if you can see this, Jashu.
Yep, I can see it.
All right, so I'm about to play right now. So again, this is the populations of the people. So we're at 14,000 years ago. At the top, you should be able to see the timeline. Now it's 13,000 years ago. So you see a couple of humans are in the Sahara. 12,000 years ago, we're starting to see it heat up. 11,000 years ago, it's heating up very hot, and you've seen a lot of people. 10,000 years ago, it's booming. Human populations are there. 9,000 years ago, 8,000 years ago, and I'm not going to keep reading it. Y'all can see for yourself. But the Sahara, the Green Sahara, was 100% populated by humans, and this is partly why, like I said earlier, that it began to dry up because these humans had animals, and the animals were grazing and causing certain type of geographical issues in the area. But I'm going to play it again, and Jashuba, if you want to add any commentary to what you're seeing, go ahead. I played it a second time.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah. So also, this is that population boom is coming from that pastoral package that they're getting, right? And then they start dealing with agrarian packages as well, so they're able to feed and support and sustain larger populations. This is also why you see West Africans bringing pastoral packages with them, being able to domesticate animals, learn domestication, learn how to feed large flung populations, sustain large flung populations, because they're getting it from their Saharan ancestors. That's where they're getting it from. They're just showing migration, bro.
Exactly. And then you're going to see it slowly dies out. and that's when people start to move north, south, and west, and all that type of stuff. But anyways, I'm done with that. That's all I wanted to show. I just wanted to disprove the fact that he said that there was no people living there. I showed you 2 studies that literally prove that there was people living there. And he said that no one moved south, and I showed you 2 studies of people moving south. So I don't know what this guy is talking about. I don't have words to describe his.
The earliest, like the Kintampo culture, we could have did a whole bunch of complexes in West Africa showing that all of these places are influenced by outsiders, people migrating from the Sahel, Southern Sahara, and migrating south into Ghana, and migrating south into Nigeria, into the Chad Basin, and they're bringing in the skills and knowledge and understanding that they gained while they was in the Green Sahara, right? This is why you see just a sudden showing of ceramics, understanding of ceramics in West Africa, understanding of pastoralism and agro-pastoral packages coming in, understanding of, doing what's needed to advance the people, and even metallurgy. I know a lot of people, metallurgy came because people understood this before in the Sahara, man. That's the best understanding, the best explanation of it. But anyway, if you ain't got nothing, Ivory, I'm done. It's about 11:30. It's bedtime. We ain't gonna hold y'all up. This nigga a bozo, just like Garfield. They both say the same thing. They have this ideological prison for African Americans and Africans alike, that you were stuck in sub-Saharan Africa forever. We prove without a shadow of doubt how the fuck you got RV-88, how you got EM-78 there. And then EM2 has been shown to have all his ancestral clades in North Africa. All the ones in sub-Saharan Africa are the descendants of those clades. So to show you, if you go off of that the ancestral clades of EM2 were definitely in the north and not in the south. ISOGG said before that E1B1A disseminates from the north. As we showed that plenty of material culture disseminates from the north, certain pottery, certain shards and stuff. We didn't get into everything today. Microlithic shards, even with the stones, before they go to stone to metal later on. The note culture coming from the north. We showed certain cultivated plants and animals coming from the north. This is a tell of migration. When you deal with West Africa, put some respect on our fucking ancestors' name. Because you niggas not really West Africans, nigga. Y'all niggas not from that fucking Sahel. You niggas is actually European, man. You niggas is actually Southwest Asian, nigga. Stop fucking playing with me, nigga. Y'all know how we get down here, nigga. Hey, if you want that smoke, we'll debate and clap your ass, bitch ass, nigga. Fuck are you talking about? I'm out, man. You damn right we are. We demons, nigga. Fuck you talking about? Go fast, nigga. Hey, man, fuck the ops.
Hey, that shit hit different. On 4 down. Hey, on the guys, I know y'all been waiting on this one. It hit different. Hold on. Gang. Hey, try to run and still get shot. That shit hit different. Hey, stuffing hollows in my Glock. That shit hit different. Hey, when you smoke your first op, that shit hit different. Hey, gun size a boss top. That shit hit different. Bitch, that shit hit different. Hey, that shit hit different. Hey, when you really bout that life, that shit hit different. Bitch, when you living what you rock, that shit hit different. Hey, when you know these niggas cop, that shit hit different. Bitch, tack the Swifty to the Glock, make it spit different. Hey, bro, just beat a murder case, that shit hit different. Hey, my side bitch another race, that shit hit different. Hey, I got a Glock, bro, got a Glock, but bitch, my shit different. Hey, I got BBs round my neck and them hoes hit different. Hey, I cut my baby mama off cause that bitch be trippin'. Hey, caught him locking at the stody nigga be slippin'. Hey, got 33 in my 23, Scotty Michael Pippin'. Y'all ass tweaking bitches merch, you know it hit different. It's 200 on my dash, no more whip different. I put my shooters on your ass, it's gon' hit different. No, my boys ain't come to play, they gon' kill away. Try to run and still get shot, that shit hit different. Hey, stuffing hollows in my Glock, that shit hit different. Hey, when you smoke your first op, that shit hit different. Hey, gun size a boss top, that shit hit different. Bitch, that shit hit different. Hey, that shit hit different. Hey, when you really bout that life, that shit hit different. Bitch, Bitch, when you living what you rap, that shit hit different. Hey, when you know these niggas cap, that shit hit different. Bitch, when she found out that you rap, that shit hit different. Hey, when her sister let you clap, that shit hit different. Hey, think I'm lacking, but I'm strapped, that shit hit different. Hey, I put my city on the map, that shit hit different. Hey, I'ma fuck a doggy style, cause it hit different. Hey, screaming free the problem child, bitch, it hit different. Hey, all my shorties going wild, bitch, it hit different. Hey, milk the game like a cow, bitch, it hit different. Hey, when your cousin them the ops, you know it hit different. Hey, when you really on your block, bitch, it hit different. Hey, when you really worth a check, that shit hit different. Hey, I put the block around my neck because it hit different. Hey, bitch, try to run and still get shot, that shit hit different. Hey, stuffing hollows in my Glock, that shit hit different. Hey, when you smoke your first op, that shit hit different. Hey, gun size a boss top, that shit hit different. Bitch, that shit hit different. Hey, that shit hit different. Hey, when you really bout that life, that shit hit different. Bitch, when you living what you rap, that shit hit different. Hey, when you know these niggas cap, that shit hit different. Bitch.